Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Everything right now the Patriots are doing is under a microscope. There's big news that's coming out, and the Patriots are interested in a quarterback. Oh, really?
I think you could talk to Robert for me and say, listen, Paul's having a tough time. Can you get him a bonus? I need some cash. I need some cash flow. Jules, you've been working here for 20 minutes. You got any cash you can lend me?
Before the show, I was watching that Get It Up show on ESPN with the Greenberg, and I was a Jerry Seinfeld fan before he was Jerry Seinfeld.
You invented it.
That's right.
Yeah. Caleb Williams is not the consensus number one overall pick on everyone's board.
But I think it is kind of a story because
I'm not surprised
2
by
months
that.
ago he was.
I don't think so.
Oh, yes.
I don't think so.
Oh, God, yes, Paul.
I should say, or she, because I don't remember where the report
Are you
originated.
sure this wasn't one of your straw people?
I
I love Matt goes, oh, so we got Evan and Deuce, and you're like,
Grinds the show to a halt. I'm such a jerk.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
all right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Tuesday here at Gillette Stadium. Deuce, what do you...
What is this? We got a new monitor. I'm used to
we
one
come
falling
back
off
and
the
everything's
table here.
different.
Well, the
I
old
just-
monitor just died.
Oh,
So we had to replace it with another monitor.
it's got a booster on it.
Yeah.
And it's
Did
very
it
nice.
die, or did you and Paul break it while we were gone?
Well, could have been
Oh,
both,
no,
but...
that was here when I got back.
Yeah.
Who
No,
was
it was-
sitting in my seat while I was gone, young man?
That would be me.
Also, why is the show grinding to a halt when Deuce and I come on?
I said I
It's
was
the 4
such a
second
jerk.
delay.
this is,
Well, it all started off on Tuesday. Fred goes, "It's a lot of stuff going on in India," and I go, "If you say so."
oh, come on.
Tuesday
I
was
think,
rude.
I think it was one of the better combines.
Yeah.
Mike, you got
Yeah.
that picture you want to show Fred?
Yeah.
I'd agree.
You
There's
know?
like 17 people at the Patriots table. All the other tables are empty.
Yeah, that was bad.
But so that's what we're going to talk about mostly is Deuce and Evan and
Yeah,
Tamara have returned from the combine and to get their reports from being there. You
Yeah.
know, because you
Boots
can
on the
watch it on
ground.
TV all you want and read all the stuff, but it's different when you're there.
Yeah. Well, it started off a lot different. Just getting to talk to Elliot Wolf, that was pretty cool. We've been going to that's I think my 4th combine. So just to get to finally chat with him a little bit. Never really had officially met him. So. And then we next day had Gerard as well, so it was just good to I mean we kind of joked that when we used to go to the combine we spent so much time if somebody like farted and it smelled like Patriots we'd be like, well, we got to write about it because that was all we could kind of do. But now we had actual some actual Patriots people speaking, so lots of good stuff to go off with, and I felt like that started us off pretty good. And then it was just another circus of people, interviews, and you're waiting, and guys are coming and going, and but it's always good just to get to see these guys and get to hear them in person. And now when people call and ask us and we have to talk about them for the next 2 months, we have a little bit of background to reach them.
This was the most tiring combine of my 5 combines, I would say, because normally with the Patriots, it's why even bother trying to talk to somebody from New England because you're not going to get anything out of them, or you're not going to see him. This combine was totally different. Deuce kind of laid out the press conference side of it, but just people walking around town and stuff like that work for the Patriots that I don't think would have been happening a year ago, 2 years ago. So much different feel.
Yep. And what do you think about that feel? Elaborate a little bit.
It's definitely refreshing.
Yeah.
Like I was just telling them this morning, I was like, to see a VP, like he said, walking around and just have not the confidence, but like the reassurance I could go up to this man and say hello and like he's going to be great and like talk back was nice. Because, I really would have never walked up to someone. I probably would have just like acted like I didn't see them and kept going,
Right.
So it was just nice to see.
They would have done the same.
Yes. Certain staff members have them like say hello, be very welcoming. It was just very refreshing.
And I think it's also exciting because, for the first time in a long time, we're in the game.
Yeah.
Like one of the top picks. We're in the game here.
That's why it felt like kind of a build up to Friday, getting to the quarterbacks and the receivers and the running backs when they got to speak on Friday and then working out on Saturday that, no offense, I do like the defense, but just those early days of cornerbacks and D-line and linebackers. It's, you wanted to see Drake May. You wanted to see, Caleb Williams. You wanted to see Jaden Daniels. You wanted to see Marvin Harrison. He didn't show up.
I didn't see him. But yeah, the D-line and linebacker day was rough. I was
Not
let's
invested.
just go get to the next day here, and then tight ends went with some of the DBs, so that was good. But yeah, I think it's good that we're more informed, I guess, about some of the things that are going on. But I would just be very wary and cautionary about thinking that we have any clue of what's actually going
God,
on.
no.
Because
no.
We saw a lot of reporting come from the combine, and I'm not crapping on the reports or the reporters that were doing the reporting. But just because one guy told you something when you're out and hanging out with him doesn't mean that that's 100% by any means what's going to happen on April 26th. So I really feel like the only two people that really have any clue of what the Patriots want to do are Elliott Wolf and Gerard Mayo.
Right.
And I think everybody else is just kind of along for the
And
ride.
I would be really disappointed if anyone in this room knew what we were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be disappointed, that they let us know. I don't want to know. I don't think we should know. No. And you say, I'm sure they know what they want to do at this point, or they're building towards getting to know that. But unless you have the first pick, you don't know.
I'd be kind of disappointed if they knew what they were going to do right now.
Right.
That was
just to illustrate your point, Freddie.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think some of the conversations we had with Gerard, the top 30 visits, I think, are going to be really big for them because that's when they get them here. They can really go in depth. These combine interviews are 18 minutes. So it's not really – it's just a getting to know you game. It's a brief introduction to the player. Once we get into top 30 visits, that's when you really get down to brass tacks about what this guy is all about, football wise, not football wise. So I think there's going to be a lot of stock put into those, especially for the quarterbacks.
Well, Evan, I'll tee up for this one. I mean, just talk a little bit about the kind of just the differences between, not good or bad, but between Drake May and Jaden Daniels. It seems like those are the two guys that everybody's locked in. Everyone's got.
By the way,
mocks
I've
and everything.
started my film study. But go ahead.
I can't wait for that. I think the biggest thing was that was cool about both of them is that their demeanor at the podium, I feel like, reflects how they play on the field. Drake May was all energy, just jumping up on the podium, like ready to go, a ball of energy. When you watch him play, he's got kind of that Josh Allen, can be a little bit wild, can be a little bit of a gunslinger. And then Jaden Daniels was more quiet, more subdued, more calm up at the podium. And I feel like that's exactly how he plays in the pocket, is a little bit more of a, poise. I'm going to sit here, make my reads, make my throws. So I thought both of them came off exactly how I expected, just based off of watching them play football. And that's, I think, kind of cool that, their personalities are reflective of how they actually play the game. So I'm not big on, I thought this guy did well at the podium. Like, what difference does it really make? But from everything that you hear, teams are really, really impressed with Drake May in the interviews. I think he comes across as a franchise quarterback, someone that is an impressive figure. He walks into a room and commands the room and, has that sort of bravado about him, whereas Jaden Daniels might be a little bit more of that quiet, humble type of person. So
what do y'all think of JJ McCarthy being added into this mix of potentially being a top 5 quarterback?
Yeah, first overall.
It's interesting. We kind of asked you guys, and I don't know if you had heard the reports that we had at that point, but now that, it's a few days afterwards, are you hearing the same thing that we heard, that McCarthy is rising up and could be in the top 4 and
a little bit. I mean, I guess I chalk it up a little bit to, I think he has an element of unknown, and he's played in an offense where he hasn't really thrown in, so people have that, like, they're projecting him positively that, all right, well, he wasn't asked to throw a lot, but we actually think he can throw. When we can talk about how he did, in just those
and what did John Harbaugh say? He thinks he's the best quarterback coming out?
Jim Harbaugh.
I mean, Jim.
I think the biggest thing with McCarthy too is that the Michigan offense is not one of these gimmicky college offenses where there's a lot of like bubble screens and RPOs and built-in yards that way. So there's a lot of NFL-style dropbacks in what he was asked to do at Michigan. So for a lot of evaluators, I think it's just easier to look at his tape and say, this is going to translate, that's going to translate. And at the end of the day, it's all about, covering your own butt a little bit in that sort of thing where you don't want to draft the guy that's the bust. And if this guy can show that he can do some NFL stuff, then it's easier to say that than
Sounds like Mac Jones to me.
Yeah.
That's the same thing I said.
Yeah, I mean, Mac's Alabama offense was a little bit more RPO heavy than what they did at Michigan, but
But in terms of being NFL ready,
yeah, well, he's
the
not,
higher floor.
I don't know if he's NFL.
Well,
ready.
the thing is that that's the thing that I can't understand is that those are the things that you hear, right? About he's played in this Michigan offense that is more NFL style, more pro style offense, and he won a lot of games and he was clutch and all these kind of things. But then you watch the film and he's raw. He's really raw mechanically. He's extremely raw. And we saw it even throwing against, air at the combine. He's air milling passes over
what was
guys'
that all
heads.
about?
That's what he does. He throws the ball from his lower half like he's a pitcher in baseball. He puts everything into it, and it often leads to overstriding, and then the ball sails on him. So there's all sorts of. He's a raw talent, but then you listen to people talk about him in the league, and those people are like, well, this is. This quarterback is got, we really like how he translates and his game translates and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, but you have so much work to do with him still. It makes no sense.
So do you think it's warranted that he's now being talked about high first round talent?
No, I mean, I wouldn't want the Patriots to take him.
So this is just smoke, you think?
A little bit, but I mean, I feels like he's surpassed Penix now.
Yeah, I don't know if it's smoke, but I don't really love the prospect. Now, I will say, he's 1,000 times more talented than Mac Jones.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's a much better athlete than Mac Jones.
Yeah.
He can move.
Yeah.
He can make plays, as Evan likes to say, off platform.
Correct.
He
probably
can
the best part of his game.
He can do things that Mac Jones doesn't have the ability to do. I liked Mike's point the best, though. I think this is sort of a projection, and somehow this is,
You talk yourself into it.
Yeah, and you say, well, I've never seen him do that, but he can do that.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of times in this draft process, it's like they search for the thing that you can't do.
Yeah.
And they say, well, he can't do that because we never saw him do that. For some reason, this guy won a lot of games by handing the ball off and relying on defense, and everybody says, but he could be much more than that.
Right.
And I think people are starting to buy it. I just saw the scroll go on NFL Network with, it's a replay of the Good Morning Football, and they have him at number 9 in a trade, Chicago making a trade, and they have him going 9. I didn't see who the team was, but this was a guy who was considered maybe a possible late first-round pick, probably a day 2 pick 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the comparison, I think, to Mac Jones. Mac Jones did the same thing.
Yeah.
Whoever's running his PR, it's been a minute since I've seen a quarterback hyped up this much by
How about based
by
off
people.
of like
Not a great performance.
Exactly. Like you guys were there.
Yeah.
Like the throws were terrible,
Yeah.
and somehow everybody's like, he threw the ball well.
I know.
Well, you didn't have his receivers. Yeah.
Nobody else did
No,
either.
no one else did.
Besides
I feel
Penix,
like if he
Well, none of them really threw that well.
I thought Penix threw the ball really well, but he throws the ball really well in those settings all the time.
Yeah.
He's got a great arm.
How about the ones in the hall?
Yeah.
Penix was throwing seeds in the hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy had a couple of those too.
I was gonna say, I feel like if JJ fell in your lap, and you really didn't need a quarterback right now, like if he fell in your lap in the second round or whatever, I would not trade up to go get him.
Yeah, I think that's what he should be.
Especially for someone who really needs one.
It's not an immediate need, but it's probably going to be a need sooner than later. And you feel like you can develop him a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
talking about him in the top 10, that seems like a real reach for me. It's certainly off the table for me for the Patriots.
So it sounds to me that Jaden Daniels is number 2 right now. Is that the consensus? Or?
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah.
I would say right now Drake May is pretty much number 2.
You would say May is 2.
Yeah, JJ McCarthy.
I'm not talking about your evaluation.
No.
I'm talking about
I think JJ McCarthy's jumping Daniels. If you listen to what people are saying.
That's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah.
listen.
That's crazy.
I don't buy any of this stuff, but the stuff that Evan's talking about is Daniels is falling and McCarthy is rising, and it's Williams. I know you don't like to hear this, but Williams has never moved off of 1. But
I said that last
no
show, and he argued with me. I don't want to get into it.
I'm gonna
Walk
give
away.
you
Walk away.
I want to give a 15-second thing to
Okay.
Mike to the 3 people who weren't here.
Yes, please.
I think there's a difference between the consensus number 1 pick and the consensus number 1 on the board. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Fred either didn't understand what I was trying to say. I'm not making fun of Fred here. either didn't understand what I was trying to say, or he thinks it's the same thing.
No, we agree, but that's not.
Like,
but
I think that
you were quoting.
he has been the consensus #1 overall pick
And here we go.
for a long time, right?
Yes.
Yes.
He's been the
Probably
consensus
since he won the
#1 pick.
Heisman
Right.
last
And
year.
Fred and I agree.
Yeah.
And now he says things are changing because there was a report last week that said not all teams have him their consensus #1 on the board. Yeah. And I said that's not the same thing.
No, but and what I said, and either
And
one
I
of us
just
could
was
be
curious
right.
to see if you
I
guys
don't
saw
think
it the way I
that
did.
report didn't. What they meant to
I went
say.
back and saw the report. They said #1 on the board.
I know
Some
that-
people don't have him #1 on their
I know
board.
they said that, but but the news they were trying to make.
Nope. I went back
Okay.
and heard it.
All right.
I went back and listened to it.
I know, Paul. I'm saying
The
that.
point was that not everybody thinks he's the best player in this draft.
Okay.
And I agree with them. I don't think that almost ever happens. I think short of like Andrew Luck that year, the guy taken #1 isn't everybody's best player in the draft.
Right, and that's not news.
Right. I agree. And I think they were trying to portray this as being news, like there's this big shift. I think it's all part of the nonsense week that took
nonsense.
place in Indy last
Because
week.
because I think that what they were trying to say is he may not be picked first.
That's
That
no one's
'Cause that would be news.
No one's come out with that.
I know, but that would be news.
Right, and that's not what the person was trying to say.
Well, I mean, along those lines, the interesting thing I thought from Chicago was that, saying that we feel like we owe it to Justin Fields to, if we're going to make that decision, to move on him now. So, getting a lot of questions in the mailbag of like, well, I think the Patriots, if they can't get him, then they'll just, get Justin Fields. I mean, Justin Fields can be gone in the next 2 weeks if he's going, So I think things are going to fall into place a lot quicker, and you're kind of going to know where the Patriots stand going into the draft by what their free agency status is, and it's not going to be a draft day trade.
I do want to continue on this
are probably
evaluation of these quarterbacks, but you brought it up. There was also somebody just mentioned, and I don't know who it was, that don't sleep on the Patriots
Daniel
being interested
Jeremiah.
on Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that's gotten some pushback too
Daniel
lately.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, that's gotten some. I mean, especially with Mike Evans going back on a 2-year deal. So I think that's gotten a little bit of pushback now that Mayfield. I mean, it just makes too much sense for him. He finally found a place where he seemed to kind of click, and I don't know with Evans back. I don't know. I've seen some reports. I don't remember who it was exactly, but just saying that it seems less likely now. And I mean,
So is there reports that they're talking? Like, are there offers on the table?
I haven't seen that
Between the
Tampa?
Bucks and
No.
Baker.
The Bucks and Baker.
Yeah.
Yes, that's.
I think that
the
this-
report was Mike Evans re-signing is almost certainly going to mean that Baker Mayfield's going to stay there.
Yeah, I don't think that the Daniel Jeremiah thing was anything beyond his offensive coordinator from Cleveland and the GM that helped draft, or assistant GM
Right.
at the time,
Right.
that helped draft him are now in New England.
And you know what's
so
funny about
that's
that?
it.
Complete
Is-
speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's just connecting dots.
And I agree with Evan, and I think that's where it originated. But the funny thing, the more I'm reading about it a little bit, is they didn't want him. That was a Haslam pick.
Yeah.
Haslam wanted Baker Mayfield #1 overall. The Brain Trust didn't.
Yeah, Bedard said that last night.
Yeah, I heard that,
Yeah.
but I've read it too. So
Yeah.
never mind. I'll be nice.
Oh.
Probably where it originated on TV last night. But I did hear the same thing that you were talking about with Greg and Phil Perry
Yeah.
and Tom Curran. And I just think that it's easy to connect the dots and say, well, he played for Alex Van Pelt. And
he must love him.
Under Elliott
Yeah,
Wolf.
must be his guy.
Maybe
not.
it didn't go all that well. Maybe they didn't like it all
That
that
didn't
much.
go all that well.
So,
Yeah.
one more thing on Jaden Daniels before we completely go away from quarterbacks. Do you guys agree with the reports of, like, there should be some concern about him not playing in cold weather? Or do you think, like, oh, it's football, he'll
That was
be
a
fine?
Phil Perry.
God, no.
That
Yeah, I
was a
think
Phil Perry
that-
I
thing.
think that's huge.
Yeah, that was an extensive thing about him, even playing up here in Foxborough, that he's from California, played at LSU, you know.
That's. I mean, and I think Evan and I are kind of on the same page. We talked about it plenty in Indy of like either one is fine, Drake May or him. But I think it's really Drake May is probably a little bit of the preference right now, and you're just kind of wondering, is Washington intrigued by Jaden Daniels' skill set to match with Kyle Shanahan, and will that elevate him?
And,
Cliff
and I would,
Kingsbury.
and I would need to be more convinced on the physical skill set because it doesn't bother me that he's never played in bad weather. It would bother me if I think Mac Jones is bothered by playing in bad
Yeah,
weather,
right.
Because I don't think he has the physical skill set to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to make this all about beating up on Mac
No,
Jones.
that's a
We've
good
done-
point. You're
we've
making
done
a good
that
point.
enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drake May has probably not played a lot of games in bad weather either.
Right.
But I think the frame, would tell you he can play like that. And I think Jaden Daniels probably does too.
Yeah.
I think his skill set probably is going to be fine.
I think it's up here.
Who's our
Right,
tight
I
end?
think,
bad weather.
I think
Let's
the
just-
skill set, but it's not up here for Mac Jones. Mac Jones has a hard time ripping the ball through wind.
Yeah.
Let's,
And he also looked really
see
cold
what
before that Buffalo
let's see what Jaden Daniels' hand size measures in that.
Yeah, I
Because just Drake May's hands are below average.
It's like 9.
9 1/8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I mean, they're fine. Like it's not like he's got Kenny Pickett hands.
Was
but
McCarthy
like,
9?
sorry, Kenny Pickett.
I thought McCarthy was 9 7/8.
Kenny Pickett
he just
hands.
said he's got small hands.
If you're under 9, then
Carnies.
we're in trouble.
He's got Kenny Pickett.
And the fact that he didn't want to measure in at the combine was more about a weight thing, right? Probably trying to add weight in between now and the pro day at the end of March. But yeah, I mean the weather thing doesn't bother me as much as it might with other people because he can run. So if you're worried that he's not going to be able to, rip the ball through wind and stuff like that, well, if you run it 30 times, it's not as big
And
of a
that's
concern.
why I said, like, I think it's something to put on the radar because I don't think everybody can do it. I promised myself I wouldn't get into these combine things, but are you bothered at
suck
all?
me back in,
Are
yeah.
you bothered at all by the fact that Daniel's so you didn't get that weigh in?
Yeah, because a little bit because what he's going to eat Big Macs between now and LSU's pro day.
Oh my God.
So he's going to just be his number, and
your
I think
boy was so mad.
who's my boy?
Barth?
Alex
Yeah.
was so mad on
yeah.
Sunday morning.
Yeah, I mean, look,
fun.
it's not the biggest concern in the world, but the number that you get from LSU later this month is going to be inflated. Like that, he's not going to play at the number that he weighs in at the LSU Pro Day. He's going to be probably 5 to 10 pounds heavier because he's been eating pasta and Big Macs for the last month
doesn't?
and a half. And JJ McCarthy just did the same thing. So JJ McCarthy came in at 219, which is way bigger than what he was at Michigan. So everybody does it.
Right, and they were all gushing over. Oh, he came in bigger than people thought.
Put on good weight.
Yeah.
It's a good week for him. That's
Right.
what they were like.
Yeah.
This is why I sort of get frustrated, and I take it to the extreme. I agree, but so Evan's right. They artificially inflate the numbers all across the board. How about was it Roma Dunze that did the 3-cone shuttle like 17 times?
He
Yeah.
wouldn't
until he
leave.
got it the way
Yeah,
he
they
wanted.
wouldn't close
Like
it
so
down.
that's what we're
Again.
doing now.
Yeah.
Like so we're just going to keep
that-
testing until we get the time that we want.
And
No,
did you see the coverage of that?
Yeah, like
Stacey Dales was like, "We've never seen this
Yes.
before."
Okay,
Yes.
just for the record,
and I love Roma Dunze. This is an indictment
just for
on
the record,
player.
the number that they use is the one that he did the first time.
No,
no.
They're not giving him the last
I know,
number.
but I understand that. But
But the
there's a-
reaction of him
Yes,
doing it
it's the-
over, and
What do you think people are going to remember?
yeah.
Like the actual number or the
No, and
the effort and
I don't need a
stick-to-itiveness?
3-cone time to know Roman Dunze
And see,
is a baller.
Exactly. Exactly.
Some of that stuff, though, is crossover for me. That it's not that Caleb Williams cried; it's that it feels like some of this stuff is performative at this time, and you're trying to send a message. You're not really being genuine. You're
Right.
more about all eyes on me. What do they think? Those kind of. I thought the same thing kind of with Caleb Williams, where like he stayed until the very end. He was giving everybody a high five afterwards. I'm like, that's performative.
I think it is performative,
Yeah.
but I will say this, and I agree. I think one of you two, I think it was Evan, that said you're not really concerned as much about what they do at the podium. I would largely agree with that, but I do think those three quarterbacks, how they came across was important because quarterback's different. It just is. You're the CEO of the team. And you need to come across well. You
do.
need to present.
You do.
To use the vernacular today. Oh, he presented well.
yeah.
Presented well. Whatever.
Oh.
But I think
I just
all
think
three of
Caleb
those
Williams
guys
can't do anything right.
I
Like,
thought all three
Yeah.
of those guys did. I thought they were really impressive. I thought all three came across very
What-
well.
what do you think
I
of
liked
their
Williams.
press? What do you
briefings.
think of Caleb Williams saying, "I don't care who drafts me as long as they go first"?
I don't know. I really feel like the Caleb Williams discourse has gotten out of control, where the poor kid cannot do anything correct.
Yeah.
Like whether now it's performative, not to pick on you, Deuce, but like
it's okay.
now it's performative that
I
he
thought he
stayed
was
late.
really good.
And now at the podium, like he said, that he wasn't good, and this and that, and like it's just like no matter what he does, it's wrong. All because he cried after one game.
For a guy
Like,
whose teammates hate him, that little back and forth he had with Jerry Rice's son, is it Braden?
Yeah.
Brendan.
That back and forth was funny. Like that didn't strike me as a guy whose teammates didn't like him.
I'm not 100% sure Brendan Rice realized that the Patriots had a new head coach. Somebody asked him about the Patriots, and he went right into like, oh man, Bill Belichick. Like just started going right into it, and I was like, buddy, I think you missed some news.
Yeah, he. So Caleb Williams went to high school with Olo Fashionow, It was Fashion Now, by the way. He told,
it's not
yeah,
Fashion?
Yeah, he told us
Fashion
that.
Now.
Then we
I'll get that
definitely
wrong.
cannot take him because it'll take me so long to relearn.
Fashion
Just call him Fash.
Fashion
Or
Now.
I'll
Olu.
call him whatever I want to call him anyway. So
It's funny. I'm pretty sure James Franklin's called him Fasciano to my face.
Olu Fashion Now. He said,
A Dallas Thomas. Like,
it's Fashion Now week here at Fox.
Well, but speaking
That's
of
why
tackles,
no one likes you.
No, Joe Alt though. It was funny. We're
Is it
sitting
Alt
there.
or Alt?
It's
it's alt.
Alt. Joe Alternative. We were like sitting there and like he looks like a big baby, and like usually that's an insult. Like don't be such a big baby. Like, but he just looks like a big baby. You know, like he just was a
You're
baby.
starting
who,
to get to the point where they look like kids.
They're too old.
Control
I know.
Alt Delete.
He's like
I
six-
think
what
that was
he, six,
my
he's almost
biggest
6'9".
my biggest takeaway about a lot of these guys and like why I stand up for Caleb. He's 20 years old. He's a kid. Like it's going to take some time for him to mature. Like yes, I thought in a lot of ways he's a little bit immature.
It doesn't. It doesn't mean that you agree with everything he's done along the way. They're not deal breakers for me. The way that some people.
I just think
tug
some
them as.
people forget that we're talking about kids that are graduating or juniors in college, and Joe Alt was a perfect example. He's massive. He's 6'8", 320 pounds.
Almost
But then you
6'9".
look at his face and he looks like he's 16. And then you remind yourself like, oh
like,
right.
My dad
he's
and I could
20.
see where my size was going, so I was sort of
Yeah.
a tight end. I knew I was going to tackle though.
It's crazy. I mean, he's a specimen.
I did see
mean,
though
that
it was
guy.
kind of interesting number. And this might be wrong, but I saw it. They said Caleb Williams made $10 million last year.
I saw that.
$10 million.
I
Which
believe
just
it.
I
yeah,
think
I
we
believe
talked
it,
about
too.
it. It's
I've
a different
heard a lot
world.
of those things are grossly inflated.
Yeah, and it's possible, but I mean,
but
it's,
for him, it's probably not because he did
'Cause-
have national.
Yeah.
ad
in
campaign.
LA.
I
And-
believe
and
that because I
USC.
think
Yeah.
Shador, Coach Prime's son, I think he's at 3 or 4 million.
Oh
so.
yeah, he's driving around in like Lamborghinis.
It's
and
Yeah.
just a
stuff.
So-
different world now. It's a different
It
world.
is.
These kids coming out have a whole different perspective on trying to become a professional because they already kind of are professionals. They've already kind of made it. They're not doing this to like
Right.
buy a house for their mom anymore. Like their mom was already like living in the Caribbean. Like it's just a different motivation. It's a whole different thing. And I wonder how coaches are going to adjust to this to try to motivate these players.
They're going to leave the college
and,
games and go to the pros.
yeah, right.
But I was, when we were chatting with people, and a lot of people, I'm a big NBA fan, as you all know. It feels like these guys are becoming more and more like the NBA guys, where a lot of it is going to be about their branding and their image and their likeness and all that kind of stuff. And talking to the guys at the podiums and stuff, some of these quarterbacks, receivers, it is very Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Like when you listen to their press conferences, it's very similar. And we're going to have to get used to that.
I know, but
it's not going to be the same.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I worry about it because football is a different game than basketball, man. You need everybody on the same page. It's such more of a team sport. One or two guys can't carry you the way they can in basketball. You got to have the support of the teammates, and you have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's like, for all these kids that are making millions of dollars, and I'm sure these other guys are too, but there are still those, like, these guys are tough football dudes who look old school football still have that. I joke about the Alabama guys. Like, they're all the same. Like, they are all the same. It could be Dante Hightower right through any of the guys at the Combine, right down to Will Reichard, the kicker, who's like, he looks like he's like 5'8" white dude, and he just same thing like that, just like merciless stare right through you of like, I play
through
football.
your soul.
I know. It's so funny. Every single
Those
Alabama
Alabama guys
I'm
are
like,
all the
they are
same.
all exactly the same. And I said to Evan, I'm like, did they get them that way or do they make them that way?
They're Saban bots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No longer though.
No longer. They
Yeah.
even some of the other players, I forget one of them was I forget who it was, but was even talking about Saban and just what an impact he had on the game. And I think he's just saying like name the national championship trophy after Nick Saban. So there was a little of that going around too.
Yeah. So, going back to the quarterbacks, I heard somebody say that they would be happy with any one of these three at number 3, at the third pick. Do you guys agree? Like
Yes.
any? Okay,
Yes.
really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the move. It's the move.
So there's no guy that if he's at 3, say, you know what, we got to trade down.
No, I think these guys are all talented and they're all worth missing on. They're all worth taking a big swing and a big
Okay.
strikeout on. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. But I could get excited about any single one of them. And I think the move right now to me, get that quarterback and then get a tackle. Somehow find a way to get one of these tackles before they're all gone, because they are going to go quick in that
And you
first
think
round.
there's plenty of receivers that you can get them in round 3?
There always are, and I mean, I think if that is the route that everybody, I mean, I think like knowledgeable Patriot fans that kind of see the big, the forest for the trees. Is that the right way to say it?
Yes,
Forest
it
for the
is.
trees? We all kind of feel the same way. Of look, let's not go get a Baker Mayfield. Let's get a guy who can stand
But do
in
you
there
guys
for a
agree
minute.
with that? Like any one of these 3 you'd be happy with?
Wait, one quick message. I have something from a friend. Hey, Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go places.
Well done.
Sounds so
Okay.
professional.
I really thought that you had something.
I
for
had
your
a message
friend.
from my friends at Toyota. Okay?
I thought we had breaking news.
Chanel Gottschall just texted me, and she said,
Well done.
So, Evan,
Yes,
you
sir.
go to Fred's.
Yeah, I'd be happy with all 3 of these quarterbacks. I would like more information about how they were planning on using Jaden Daniels, but that's not going to happen. So I'm going to have to just trust them on it, I guess. But yeah, in terms of talent and what they bring to the table, they're all worthy of the pick. I have my preferences based off of the coaching staff that they put together.
I just feel too, Fred, there's always receivers, and there's receivers through 3 rounds this year that can come in. I don't know how, there's reports that they're offering Kendrick Bourne. Like, it just seems like the
I
right
wanted to
move to
bring
me.
that up, but
Like,
good.
to
Yeah.
surround a rookie quarterback and a rookie tackle with some veteran weapons, and we'll throw some stuff at the wall in the 3rd and 4th round. We don't need to overextend. This is a very special tackle class, it seems like. So try to get in it, and I'd be fine trading up from the 2nd round into that low 1st. I mean, Evan, I'll let Evan pronounce Kingsley's last name, the guy he took in his mock draft.
Suamatia.
But there's some real intriguing guys that I just, you get the quarterback, you get the tackle, and we'll start to put the weapons around him as we can, but maybe start with some veteran weapons, which I feel to some extent is what they tried to do with Mac. And I didn't hate that of, hey, if we're going to have a rookie, we can't really have a rookie quarterback and a rookie receiver that we're really trying to rely on. So to me, the move is quarterback, tackle, and figure it out.
What was it, Wolf, that said, we want to weaponize our offense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
do you read anything into that more than just, doesn't every team want to do
Yeah,
that?
Sure.
I mean, I think Gerard kind of piggybacked off that and said that they need somebody that defenses have to plan for, that they have to double team
Say
or
it all the time,
whatever. And I agree with that. I just think with this draft board, the position that's going to fall into your lap on the 3rd or 4th round, like Deuce is talking about, is receiver.
Yep.
That's the spot where there's going to be a surplus, and there are going to be guys that are probably 2nd round picks other years that are going to end up being 3rd round picks this year just because of how many receivers there are.
Well,
so
not to interrupt you, sorry, Evan, but we were just saying, like, where would last year's receivers rank with this group? Like the Jackson Smith and Jigbas of the world, like they would be down the list with the number of guys that are out there this year. And it seems like every year. I mean, going back, when Paul and I wrote the comments, every year there's solid guys if you're smart and you hit on one.
It's
I mean,
always
it's not
a
all
deep
hits, but
position, but it seems like it's top heavy and deep this year.
yeah.
I would say this year there's a good chance that 7 or 8 go in the 1st round.
We were saying like the
So-
20 picks are like, I mean, it's probably ridiculous to say 20, but like 20 picks on receivers and tackles in the 1st round. That's too much, but it's not too crazy.
So it sounds like there's going to be a lot of good defensive value later because of all this rush on offense.
Well,
It's a
not
quarter.
If, not
it's
if they're not good.
it's a good class for the
Well, there's going to be
Patriots.
some good
needs.
defensive
Yeah.
players.
There's
in
some
the
there's
draft.
some
There's
edge
a few.
guys.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some edge guys and some corners
Yeah.
that are good players, but this is a quarterback, tackle, receiver draft.
And you mentioned corner. We should mention that the Patriots released J.C. Jackson.
Yeah. I'd also report that maybe they'd be open to him coming back once he
What?
works his life out, but I don't know about that.
didn't read that.
I saw somebody write that.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
I did not read that, and I do not put much stock in that.
No,
No.
and I was surprised. I mean, I think Gerard was asked about it maybe the first day, the
Yeah.
day before he was released, and he
Still working through
played
that.
close to the vest. But I mean, honestly, I the least surprising thing I've seen with his cap hit and
Well, I really think, we're talking about receiver and tackle and quarterback. If you go back to last year, I think they did a masterful, or Bill Belichick and Steve and Gerard did a masterful job mixing and matching and getting by with the cornerback situation, especially after Gonzalez is gone. Because I don't think there was a lot of really good talent back there. And
It's a free agency.
That's the case
position
right
to me.
now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
we're assuming Gonzo's going to be back, but beyond that, I think they're pretty thin at corner.
Yeah, Gilmore. I mean, I'd bring Gilmore back. I mean, Evan calls it the. I mean, I think Jonathan Jones is okay in there. I just think you want to have some depth. It's the Jason McCourty role. You know, that third guy
they need
that
a
you can.
third guy that a true boundary corner that can be the third guy in.
I know. Well, I like Jonathan Jones, but I'd love to upgrade there and have him
put him in the slot full
and
time.
have him as our third.
That's
corner.
fair.
What do you think
gonna,
about?
That's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, I was
He's a
going to
really
say,
good
what do you think
player.
about upgrading Miles, like a Miles Bryant, or I mean,
Yeah.
I love Marcus Jones, but
Yeah.
I
they're
think
both just smaller.
I just think Miles Bryant, Miles Bryant is the nickel safety. He plays on the inside.
That's
kind of
how I view him. Too.
Yeah, so Jonathan Jones can play everywhere.
Yeah.
Like he's proven that. And I think, he makes a really good tandem with Christian Gonzalez because Gonzalez got the size, got the long speed, and Jonathan Jones can cover the Tyreek Hills of the world.
But that's the thing about Jones is, like you said, he's versatile.
Yeah.
And I want to keep him that way.
Yeah.
I want to keep him as my utility corner and get another man-on-man guy.
They
to
could
be opposite
they could
Gonzo.
use another boundary corner that
Yeah.
can play 70 snaps on the perimeter. Absolutely. But Deuce was kind of going there. I think in free agency there might be a couple of options in like the middle tier free agents that they could go, because it just, when you add corner into like a top 100 need for this team and they only have 3 top 100 picks and they have all these needs on offense, it's hard to just find the picks to make all of these things happen.
It's
so
true.
I think like giving Gilmore some time with Gonzalez is kind of appealing to me too.
I
Like,
just
so.
think that's going to be ridiculously hard to.
Yeah,
to pull
where is
off.
Gilmore these days
Dallas.
in terms of?
Dallas.
No, I
Yeah.
know.
No, he's
I know
very-
he's at Dallas,
But
but
he's
like,
still a very good player. But
you think so?
oh yeah,
yeah.
he's
He
still
looked
he's
good.
still a starter.
This past year he looked
he's
great.
a really good player.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of people in Dallas think he was the better cornerback, even though the other guy had all the picks, the pick sixes.
Right.
More
This is
stable,
Bland,
more
Deron Bland.
more consistent for sure.
But I just feel like you'd have to grossly overpay him
Yeah.
to get him. And I mean, we taped a free agency thing, and Evan brought up Tyron Smith as a bridge tackle. We talk about bridge quarterbacks, and I think that sounds great in theory, but what's in it for him? Like, why do I want to sign a bridge deal
Yeah, you're gonna have to
to
pay him.
play for a 4-13 team?
Yeah.
And
Like,
I love.
well, sure, if you want to give me $25 million or something silly, and I think that's kind of similar to Gilmore. I think Gilmore will have options. He's not going to get a 5-year, $120 million contract. He's not going to get L'Jarius Sneed money if Sneed didn't get franchised. But he's going to get money.
Paul,
and he's going to have options.
Remember how I was when the Patriots signed John Lynch?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how I would be if they signed Tyron Smith. Even though
You were
I
excited?
think
Tyron
Tyron
Smith can still play, though.
even
were
though
you like? You were
he's
mad?
always hurt.
He
Second-
is al-
always
he
hurt.
is
Second
always-
team All-Pro
he
last
is
year.
always
love
hurt,
him.
but he
love
can play. John Lynch was
I know.
done like
I know,
dinner.
but I was always a big John Lynch fan, and when he became a Patriot, I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this guy
That
that
is
I've
true.
always liked
He was
is a
giddy.
Patriot."
For, like,
and it would be the
3
same
weeks.
thing with Tyron Smith. Like, just to think of him in a Patriot uniform blows my mind.
Think if
I mean,
Andy was
Tyron
here
Smith's
right now,
first
he'd still be
ballot.
making fun of him.
First ballot Hall of Famer, Tyron Smith.
Honestly,
Terrific
I know
player.
people will make fun of me, but when I watch the Cowboys, like there'll be plays where I just watch him because he's so good at his craft.
Because you're just so sophisticated.
Right.
No, but
You're
like,
like Pat
he's
Kerwin.
He's
The
an
way-
offensive
Keep
line
your
guy.
eyes, take
the
your eyes
way,
off the
like
ball.
his arms.
Don't look at
First
the
of all,
ball.
his
I
arm
respect
length is
I don't
like
even watch my son.
his arm length is unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's got these huge paws, and when he just gets a
He's
hold
a
of you,
lineman.
Yeah.
it's
I love
over.
that was the
It's-
joke.
It's
He's a
just
lineman.
it's just over.
Yeah,
And
I mean, my preference
Talk
is
the talk
I've
for
said
you.
it many times is
Go
what
ahead.
they did in 21. I know there were flaws with that free agency class, but it's get the guys coming off a first contract, and these are long-term guys. And I think the thing with Bill though that you always didn't know going into free agencies, he always had a soft spot for really really good players at the end of the line and giving them a chance, and those kind of guys kind of qualify for that. Under Bill, I
Yeah.
think you might be a little bit more likely to see
Right.
him work something out with Tyron Smith or Gilmore.
But I also think that Bill would have a hard time doing that now. 'Cause
yeah, with the
there's
money
not-
that
I
he'd
mean,
have to give him.
There's not. What's the only thing that you can offer is more money than everybody else, and that's dangerous.
right, there's no.
If you want to, I mean,
you can't say come here and you have a chance to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
right? You don't have Brady. You
There's-
don't have an offense.
There's just not a lot of tackles.
and you went 4-13.
There's not a lot of tackles in this free agent class
No.
that excite you. I mean, Jonah Williams would
I
be
mean,
fine.
Trent Brown is number 2, right?
He's up there, yeah. I mean, I don't think
I wouldn't have him ahead of either one of those two guys.
No, I
Tyron
think
Smith or Jonah
I think
Williams.
Jonah Williams is an average right tackle, which would be better than what they've had at that spot. So I'd call certainly.
That's why I
but
think Deuce is right. The second pick should be a tackle.
It's just watching the parade go. That's who's is anybody left by the time they get to their actual
for
pick.
The secondary. That's why Snead was the guy. I sort of made the comment. You have all this cap money. I'm not interested in spreading that around to 6 or 7 different guys. I want to identify a couple, and Snead was one that I sort of earmarked.
Yeah,
but
I
you could still make a trade. It sounds like that Kansas City is trying to do right by him. They want to re-sign him. They franchised him, but gave him permission to speak to other teams. So maybe there's a deal to be worked out there, but that's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah,
and a lot in picks if you have to trade for him.
Yeah, I just generally speaking, and I don't know how it's going to play out, but I would say, and maybe even a week from today, right now on the show, like I'm expecting that we're going to have some hype about the Patriots defense. Just some moves that they're going to make. They're going to add some real talent, some real guys that you feel like can make impacts on the defense. Of course, everybody wants offense, but I just think, generally speaking, it makes the most sense to grab those big name players like Paul said. You don't go crazy with 12 different guys paying them all 60%.
Yeah.
Grab a couple and pay them full and really insert them into the defense and elevate that defense to another level. So you might have some breathing room with a young
franchise
quarterback.
tag deadlines today at 4.
Yep. Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Any chance that they do Onwenu or Duggar?
I don't think so. I mean, I think they're going to let those guys see what's out there, and my hope is that we can kind of set a precedent here of re-signing those guys to nice long-term deals, and all of a sudden, I mean, how long has it been? I mean, can you guys even say off the top of your head the last time they re-signed somebody long-term and you're like, nice, we've got a long-term building block? Like for Mike Onwenu and Kyle Duggar, certainly both have some warts, but I think they're both at this point worth it with this cap. They're not hamstrung for money or anything like that. I just think get off this train of drafting guys, they play 4 years, then they leave, and just show the locker room, guys that stay here and play, we're gonna reward those
Just
guys.
where are you playing Big Mike? Because
right guard.
I think you have to play him at guard.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna pay him $15 million when you have City So, was pretty good last year as a rookie, and I think is serviceable, very functional guard. I don't know about Cole Strange. Maybe it's City So versus Cole Strange for left guard. Maybe and Onwenu kicks inside to right guard. He's not a tackle in this system.
No. But I think that the ability to at least play there in a pinch is worth something and valuable, and that's part of what we love about Mike Onwenu. That's who he is, and he's a mauler. And I mean, I think the only question really is, and I'll let you kind of jump on that, Evan, is what Alex Van Pelt wants to do with the wide zone. How much do we like Mike Onwenu at right guard? And, is it possible that Cole Strange might even be the better fit for that kind of offense?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely better for him to play guard in it because you get those combination blocks on the inside and he's going to get on a double team and things like that. But if he's asked to block out on the perimeter at tackle, it's just not his game.
Yeah.
And it's almost like misusing him, And so I that's what I worry about is they're going to pay him this money to do all the things that you said, to send a message to the locker room, to do the right thing by a player that's been, a core player or whatever Elliot Wolf called him, but then he's going to be kind of playing in a system that doesn't fit him.
Yeah. And only they know that.
All right, Paul needs to eat, but first, I think we have something to say.
I do. I have a special message.
Oh.
Hey, Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go places.
All right, we'll be right back, and we'll open it up to you. Oh, another read.
Yes,
another
not
read.
done.
Wow.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here. 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible/gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resource.
All right, now we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll open it up to you.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get my plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get my plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
As I think back over the past few seasons, I wanted to thank my most trusted game day teammate, Tostitos. As I recall the last-minute grocery runs and late-night dishwashing, the salty defeats and spicy victories, I realized it was all thanks to my teammate Tostitos. It was always you, Tostitos. Team up with Tostitos, the official chip and dip of the New England Patriots.
And we are back with another edition of the PU Halftime Show. I'm joined by Chris and Alex again. And guys, as usual, we're going to start off with some trivia. So question 1, who scored against the Patriots in Super Bowl 36 and 38? All right. Question 2, how many career receiving yards does Tom Brady have? All right. And question 3, which kind of cycles into our topic for the day, what English soccer team does Tom Brady co-own? All right. Send your answers into webradio@patriots.com. And so, guys, I say this ties into the last question because on Twitter a couple weeks ago, there was a question, is if you could set your starting 11 with animals, what would it be? And so, like, dads were taking their kids' magnets and putting them on fridges and being like, oh, our right back's going to be a cheetah and our striker's going to be a lion. And then people, it would get really into it. And so I posed this question to Chris over here because I said, what would you build out for your starting 11 for football? And Chris, did you do offense only or did you do offense and defense?
I think this project took me more than 10 hours to complete because I was thinking about this. I had the notes in front of me.
Are we doing offense?
Offense.
Okay, offense. All right.
Offense.
Okay, perfect. Let's hear it.
All right. So should I start right to left? What are you thinking? What do you want?
However your heart desires.
I'm going to start with, I'll start right to left. All right, here we go. So on the right, that outside wide receiver, I have a cheetah.
All right.
You need the speed, need the burner.
Tyreek.
Get you downfield. Sure, exactly. Exactly who I was thinking. At the tight end, at the Y, you got a giraffe. All right. Now hear me out. Now let me just before you guys jump in.
I'm ready to fight this.
No, that's okay. I put the giraffe at the Y, and I'm doing that because you have somebody kind of bulky, right? Big, tall, not that quick, can go up and get it. Like you can throw it up to him when you need it. Kind of a Gronk-esque stature. All right.
My brother's getting folded when he runs across the line.
Maybe. But guess what? If he goes up and brings it down, that's all you need. You need yards and first
then
downs
he's not
and
playing
touchdowns.
another snap. All right, keep going.
Second. All right. Well, actually, I'll go with the slot receiver. I have a squirrel. And now this is me.
Shout out Edelman.
Shout out Edelman.
Flying squirrel or a normal squirrel?
Just a squirrel. It can be whatever you want.
We don't discriminate.
Yeah, of course. And squirrel's quick, shifty. Just able to move around, quick out. Whatever you need to throw it to him whenever. On the outside, we got the kangaroo. The last receiver, we have the kangaroo. And I have this one, again, thinking a tall, lanky, has ups, go up and get the ball, like high point of ball, kind of like the giraffe, but a little bit quicker, something like that. And then quarterback has to be the lion, just the king of the offense, runs a show.
How's he throwing the ball?
We don't worry. It's just the mindset. It's the mindset.
Okay. Deuce, I talked to Deuce about this earlier, and he said the same exact thing. I said, why does that matter? Anyways, running back is a tiger. You have the speed, you have the quickness, you have the aggressiveness, you have the strength. All of it's there. So the two-cat backfield, huge, huge. The lion at Q, and tiger is a running back. My offensive line. Now, this is where it gets interesting. You try to go big, but you also want to go a little bit quick. So I have a righty quarterback, okay? My line is a righty. He throws the ball with his right hand. My left tackle is a bison. Kind of quick, still kind of big, strong. Protect your left side, your blind side. Left guard, elephant. That's the one, not typically the point guard.
You're putting the big boys up front.
Yeah, the elephant's left guard. Center is the hippo. I mean, you can't go wrong with a hippo at center. You just can't. Right guard, grizzly bear. That can be your pulling guard if you really want him to be. Flip-flop him, whatever you need. And on the right tackle, you got the rhino. That stout person, kind of keep you in the pocket, protect you at all costs. That's my 11 on the field on offense.
You got to get rid of the giraffe.
I would get rid of the giraffe. My tight end. So I would have the kangaroo be the tight end, because if you need the kangaroo to block, he can be like at the line. He's thick enough. He can use his feet to kick people and kind of push him back that way. If he needs to go up for the ball, he can go up for the ball. I would have, just to add to that too, a bull or some sort of animal like that in the backfield as a running back.
Yeah, you gotta change the running back.
And I think we're like underrating monkeys for the quarterback. Like they can legitimately.
Did you put the gorilla in there too?
No. See, I don't. Again.
And what about
it was a toss-up.
A moose on the offensive line, getting some antler action.
The moose. I like the moose. The moose is a good one. I was thinking big. I'm thinking big. Bears are quick, so like that's your pulling guard.
I like the grizzly bear. That's
grizzly
a killer.
bear, especially the grizzly bear.
I think you got to move the hippo.
How?
I don't know.
No, you have to have the hippo.
Your hippo's your center.
And the squirrel, like I mean, you get a falcon in there.
What's a falcon gonna do?
More than a squirrel.
Okay, hear me out. You upgrade
they might blow a
the
28-3
squirrel.
lead.
You let the squirrel walk. You sign a leaping lemur.
I also
Zaboomafoo.
I think you need to, which I've seen these. I've seen these.
Oh God,
he's too young. He's too young. Well,
What's
that's
a
a different. Don't shut your mouth. We'll tell you about it later.
Zaboomafoo. Walking through
I think
the woods one
having
day.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Having seen this animal up close, it's the scariest thing I've ever seen. You gotta throw the hyena in there. So swap the squirrel with the hyena. All right, those things are scary.
They are.
Those things can do some damage.
Those teeth.
Yeah, but then whenever they face any adversity, they just run away. So,
it's fine. They're fast.
I don't know.
I
don't know about that.
All right, Chris. You know what? I honestly, the only thing I truly disagree with is the draft. Things getting folded.
You don't know that though.
I do know that.
So all right, I was scrolling
you can
on
work
TikTok.
with that team though. You know?
Can work that team.
Well,
that's something to build
doesn't
off.
have to be
That's
perfect.
a good core, good foundation.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
The draft
guys.
like a glue guy.
Yeah, he is a
He's
great
a locker room guy.
Great mental, amazing character.
It's kind of like Jasicki.
Exactly.
Tall, skinny.
Mike Gesicki is a great example. Just can
That's what you were
get
envisioning.
something done.
Miami to Gesicki.
Sure.
Here,
Sure.
what could have been.
What could have been?
That's what I was thinking about it. But the giraffe, go up, get it, bring it down. He has wheels. You see him in the open field. He's cooking.
Yeah,
I
but
was
you
scrolling
see a
on
baby
TikTok.
giraffe try to walk.
Are we working with a baby giraffe or are we working with a regular giraffe? Mine's a regular giraffe.
Someone's breaking ankles.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying I was scrolling on TikTok. There's a lion chasing this giraffe. And guess who got away?
The giraffe.
The giraffe.
Wow.
All right.
How about a zebra?
No,
vulnerable.
Bait for everything.
Yeah. Vulnerable.
All right. I think we've reached our point. This one might make it onto the show.
We might have to continue.
This might continue onto the show. So I don't know. Guys, thank you for joining. Send your answers in for trivia. As I've always said, we might need to get some new shirts. It's just we're running low. So we'll see.
You're the keeper of the shirt.
I'm the keeper of the shirt. I want some hoodies, but hey, that's a different topic. All right, guys. Thanks for joining as always, and let's get back to Patriots Unfiltered.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx, and with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
And now, great moments in history.
Just won a Super Bowl 2 years ago.
There's many ways to build a team, and
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. I got a little hot.
It's okay, Mike.
Well, if you're gonna, the
Let
one
your hair
example from the draft is Justin Rohrwasser. Well, we missed on a 5th round kicker. Like, are you kidding me? You're gonna ignore Michael Onwenu, Kyle Duggar, like the guys that have actually played and looked good, but you're concerned that they missed on a kicker when they brought in a guy who's 37 years old and has not missed a kick since September. Like, come on. Like, be realistic. I get what you're trying to say about like the draft, but like, be reasonable about the picks that they did have. Oh, trending in the wrong direction. Well, guess what? He drafted some good players this year too, and those guys are going to be around for a little while.
One quick second? You guys can continue this.
Sure.
I'm just so disappointed in myself. It took a year and a half for that, and I wasn't involved. I'm like,
I think we got.
I'm ashamed of myself.
I'm happy that he. I want to see that.
I'm ashamed of myself that I finally got that out of him, and I had nothing to do with it.
I think we got a new nickname. Hot Mike.
Hot Mike. There you go, Eric. I like it.
That's another great moment from
Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots.
All right. There's another read.
There you go.
In the can.
She's doing great.
We also had trivia during halftime.
Excellent.
Halftime.
Trivias.
So I'll throw those out there now. The first one was who scored against the Patriots in Super Bowl 36 and 38?
Ricky Prohl.
I know that one.
Ricky Prohl is correct. Kevin Keith in New River Gorge, West Virginia. Second one was, how many career receiving yards does TB12 have?
Oh, gosh. He had that one his first year, I remember.
The one against the Titans in the regular season.
Didn't catch
short.
the Eagles Super Bowl.
Oh, thanks for that. I'm going to say
18 yards.
I was going to say 27. Oh.
32.
48. 700.
65.
65.
Oh, wow.
The one against the Eagles, he ran pretty, like, after the catch, he ran a little bit with it, right? So,
what English soccer team does Tom Brady co-own? I didn't even know he
sounds like a Matisse question.
co-owned a soccer team.
Soccer.
Arsenal.
Birmingham City.
Yeah, no.
Alex L. got that.
You mentioned Ricky Prohl on my growing list of things, details the Dynasty doc left out. How did they leave out Ricky Prohl before Super Bowl 36 going? Tonight a dynasty is born.
Right.
Like, it writes itself. I don't. That's that's one of the on my extensive list that I will reveal at some point.
Well, we should say that we are doing the wrap-up podcast this Friday. We'll have another one, episodes 7 and 8. So can't wait for that.
That'll drop Friday.
If it's all right, I'd like to say, because I wasn't here when you guys talked about those ones, but I thought the Hernandez one was, I guess chilling is the word, the way it started with just, the picture of him, which I was waiting for it to be Matt Smith being the one like, Aaron, can you give me a little bit, going through Matt Smith, giving his directions. But that was just kind of a great way to open it. And I actually watched that episode twice coming back. And I knew that story too, but that episode I thought was really well
I think
done.
what made it for me were the interviews. I mean, Branch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, don't spill too much for the ones who are behind.
Right.
Well, he killed some people.
Oh!
Spoiler! Sorry, those were out last week.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I agree with Freddie. The three receivers, Lloyd, Branch, and Welker, were all really good. And I did think that was one of the stronger episodes that they've put together.
And there's some other crime documentaries that really go into details on some of the other cases and some of that other stuff. But I thought it was kind of buried in there that they said he was, I don't know if he was absolved or they said he was never really, they dropped any kind of investigation or charges
it was a
on that Boston thing. Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
There
was a technicality when he was in prison that he was absolved of, but it was more paperwork than innocence.
You could just see it in Welker's face too. Like, those guys just, and I guess with your teammates, you always kind of know some people who just aren't on the same wavelength of you. You're there with them and then you go your separate ways at the end of the day or the end of the week. And it's like, what's that guy going off to get into? I don't want to know.
Right. Do not hang out with Chico.
Do not hang out with Chico.
855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline, web radio at patriots.com. We've covered a lot. But let's get everyone involved because I'm sure people have things they need to talk about. We'll start with Ryan in New Hampshire. What's up, Ryan? Ryan. Oh, my God. He was online for 40 minutes.
About Dylan.
We got to figure out, who's
Lobby?
still on
Lobby?
the line
Yeah,
and who's not.
Evan likes Lobby.
Brad's in Ohio. Brad's gone.
That's definitely an Evan guy.
Lobby?
Third down back.
Yeah.
Eldred's in North Carolina. What's up, Eldred?
I'm not a
Lobby in 3.
I'm kind of
Eldred.
Ladd McConkey.
Oh, really?
He's not here.
Really small.
Something wrong with the phone lines, Freddie.
Willem and Phillum, what are you doing?
William's there. I believe it.
I'm here.
Yeah.
All right.
There he is.
Finally.
How everybody doing?
All right.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
First of all, I just want to say, hi to Tamara first. Got to get the lady her praise first.
Hey.
Okay. Good, William. Good job.
All right. I got a strong take for Patriots Unfiltered. I listened to Evan and Deuce and even Alex Bart, too. Gentlemen, y'all always say the wide receiver class is deep. So, hey, I got to give you some pushback.
Okay.
Some of those receivers that's in the second round, basically, that might have could be in the second round, I don't know. They moved up to number 1. Some of those guys ran a 4.33, a 4.21, and maybe a 4.41. And I can name a couple of names like Brian Thomas, of course, Mitchell from Texas, Worthy also from Texas, Ladd McConkey, and I think I'm missing out somebody else. So
Leggett,
what's going to be
Mitchell
there for us at the 3rd and 4th round? Can you give me some names, please?
Yeah, I did a whole mock draft on it, actually. You can check it out on Patriots.com.
Yeah.
There you go.
I just,
Okay.
you know, I'm not going to try
So
to. I'm not going to try to fight for Mike and Evan.
They can lose.
But
They ain't
no,
gonna
no.
fight
But
me.
like
They gonna
William,
lose.
you just said like you're pushing back on the fact that they said that the wide receiver class is deep, and then you just rattled
Right.
off about 10 guys that are not Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, and Malik Neighbors. Like, so isn't
No, I'm
that
not-
kind of
no, no, no,
illustrating
no,
how
no.
deep the class is?
Also, Brian Thomas was a first rounder before.
Wait a minute. Slow down. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not skipping on Marvin Harrison Jr.
No.
Malik Neighbors or Roman Duze. I'm leaving them out for a reason because they going early.
Right. No, I know, but they're trying to tell you that they think the wide receiver class is deep. They just got back from the
Right.
combine. They're telling you their feeling is this is a deep class.
Right.
You're pushing back against it, but you rattled off a lot of guys who were impressive at the combine, and I think we're
Correct.
10 or 12 deep. That's deep. That's
Right.
to me that's illustrating how many good prospects there are in this wide receiver class. I think that Mike and Evan are right.
No, let me. I'll throw more at you. Troy Franklin, Jalen Polk, Malachi Corley, Ricky Pearsall, Jermaine
Right.
Burton, Jacob Cowing,
right?
So
Bob Means.
I'm almost done
Aeneas
with,
Smith.
with all these guys, and I think
Yep.
I'm going to have 18 receivers in the top 100. 18.
Okay, but
How many?
You just sat there. But you sat there said the third and fourth round. What's going to be there for the Patriots? Because there won't be those guys.
Yes, it will. 100%. Not all of these guys can go in the first 50 picks, William. Like some guys have to fall to 68. Like there's not going to be
Right.
if you have 18 receivers that have top 100 grades, it's not like all 18 of them are going to go in the first round. So at some point the board's going to have to fall. You know, guys are going to fall down the board a little bit. Like for instance, I think that some of the guys that you mentioned, I agree. A.D. Mitchell definitely put himself in the first round conversation. I think that's a lock at this point. He's a first rounder. I'm not sure.
I like both of the.
I'm not
Texas
sure.
guys.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Lad McConkey's a first rounder. I'm not sure Xavier Worthy still. I'm not sure is a first rounder because of his weight. 165 pounds is not very big. I think that guys like Deuce, you were mentioning like Malachi Corley, Ricky Pearsall, Brendan Rice from
Right.
USC, Roman Wilson from Michigan. I think there's a chance that, a guy like Xavier Legette, who's pretty raw and still really has a long way to go.
Ran well.
Those guys
Right.
are all guys that I think are in play for you at 68.
I would just say too, William. Like it's. I think we all agree that quarterback, tackle, receiver. You'd like to really hit those picks out of the park this year. And
Agreed.
I look at the tackle class, and it seems kind of special the way it is, but it's not like the receiver class. Once you get past kind of that early second round, you're starting to really talk about guys who are a little bit more of a projection at tackle. So you can't nail all of them. So that was kind of part of the philosophy too. Otherwise, not to say that every year is as deep as this receiver class seems, but generally speaking, you kind of always feel like there's always receivers. That's the position everybody loves to play. So, that's kind of why I was picking it up the way that we were.
Okay, so let me throw this one last thing out. Okay. I know we need the quarterback. I know we need the tackle. I am with y'all 100% on that. Okay?
Yeah.
But when you come to that wide receiver position, I am damn near terrified because it's not like the Patriots have a good track record drafting or developing receivers, okay?
Yeah.
I think we all can agree on that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the Patriots used to
Okay.
not have a good track record.
So,
yeah.
wait a minute. So, okay, so they're picking somebody in the free agency named Nolan Brown from the Houston Texans. I guess he's the replacement for Devontae Parker. So I'm like, who's going to be the receiver that the defensive coordinator is going to have to plan for? It ain't Kendrick Bourne, is it?
Oh, we don't know yet.
Douglas didn't say enough.
I would just say that.
Yeah, we don't know. Thanks, William.
And just in general, the odds that they're going to fill every single hole that this team has in one offseason are slim.
No.
This is like people like right now. The Red Sox are under fire. They've done nothing the whole offseason. And people like they had a chance to get this. They could have redone the whole rotate. Well, they need to sign like one guy. The Patriots, this is a process. You need to find a receiver before you worry about all of the receivers and all of the tackles and the quarterback. If they get a quarterback out of the draft at 3 and, a receiver who can be the receiver doesn't have to be commensurate with Marvin Harrison for it to be a success.
Right.
You can get a number 1 guy later because you can only pick one guy at 3.
Yeah. That's the thing.
And as far as developing, William's right. They haven't had a very good track record, but I would say that the people that are here now would say, give us a chance.
No, they're mostly the same people, though. That's the only problem.
The coaches?
Well, Troy's not coaching wide receivers.
Yeah.
Gerard Mayo is the.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the people that are going to be working with the receivers.
Yeah.
You know,
the offensive system, the people developing the receivers, and even the people picking the receivers to an extent. I mean, I don't know how much Elliott
Matt
Wolf.
Rowe and Elliott Wolf.
I'm not sure how much of a say Elliott Wolf had in Tyquan Thornton. I know how much of a say Matt Rowe had, and or at least publicly, but. Who knows? I think
grind film on that one, Evan.
To his chagrin.
Yeah. I think with Elliott Wolf, though, what intrigues me is that the Packers have a very good history of drafting receivers, and that seems to be the grading scale that they're emulating. So I feel good about that. And the Packers draft all their receivers on day 2. They don't draft any guys in the first round. So I think for those reasons, you do feel a little bit intrigued about this new regime being better at it.
Ford's in Savannah, Georgia. He says, I want Drake May over Jaden Daniels because of the postseason woes of the run-first quarterback. The two greatest run-first quarterbacks, Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson, made it to 0 championships. The only run-first quarterback who even made it was Cam Newton. He got bashed to bits along the way and never was the same after that year. In the postseason, when defenders sell out their bodies and are out for blood, the running quarterback is at a huge disadvantage called human frailty. I know having Lamar Jackson would have been a massive upgrade to what we've had over the past few years, but big picture, I'd much rather have a Justin Herbert or Josh Allen type.
Isn't that extremely misleading?
What's that? Well,
Like,
because Lamar Jackson isn't really run first anymore.
No, but how many run first quarterbacks are there?
Not a lot.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
So doesn't that make it really misleading to say, like, well, Lamar Jackson never won it all.
Yeah.
And Cam Newton never won it all. Okay.
Yeah.
You're
Lamar
right.
Jackson's never won it all yet.
Michael Vick never won it all. You're right. There's 3.
Yeah.
Who else?
And it's ultimately just the final frontier for quarterbacks. Like, that's the ultimate piece. If you have a quarterback who can throw and run.
Nowadays, a lot of these guys may not be like, I wouldn't ever characterize Patrick Mahomes as run first.
Right.
No,
But he's that kind of a runner.
Yeah.
And he's won 3.
Yeah, did you see some
Even
of
Josh Allen isn't a run first guy.
No, but he
Right,
still runs.
but people
Right.
would argue. People would argue he's never won anything.
Yeah. The NFL did a great job though. With Patrick Mahomes was like, please don't show my 40 time, and then they were just like every big fat slob who ran faster than him. They were like, doing that thing where they do the lineups. Is pretty funny. Good job, NFL.
Yeah.
He could run faster if he just ran straight.
Watching Brady, that was the first time I'd seen Brady's 40, and I was in shock.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen that a million
I was in
times.
shock.
But how about Brady
That's a
beating his 40?
generation. That's a
Yeah.
generation gap, right?
Yeah.
I was in
Like,
shock.
literally,
Did you see the
that's
picture
something
with
that
him with his shirt
everybody
off? Have you
I've
ever seen
seen
that
it.
one?
All
At the
That's
combine?
scary.
All
Yeah.
of that way too many times.
It's just been like when Mahomes had his shirt off, I was like, that's not what you expected for him. But then you think about, like, if you look back at Tom Brady, you're like, it's the same. Same kind of body.
Maybe they do this already, but I don't think they do. Why not at the combine, instead of the 40, you can still do the 40, but in addition to the 40, time the routes.
They do.
They do that?
They do now. It's been new last couple years.
Yeah.
So this was a big. I get into the nuances here. So Keon Coleman from Florida State ran like a 4.6, bombed the 40-yard dash. But then he went through the gauntlet, and he was the fastest receiver through the gauntlet. He hit like 21 miles an hour going through the gauntlet drills. So this is a whole, play speed versus
Was this before
testing
or after
speed.
you were out on him?
Well, I've been out on him since watching his
Because I don't
film.
really love that kind of a player.
Yeah.
So I haven't really pushed back, and this is not a Rishi Rice. I'm not willing to push back on that one. But I just was curious if you had seen sort of that
so it's
update.
funny because I tweeted that I was out on Keon Coleman, assuming people that follow me and listen to our shows and stuff know that I've been out on Keon Coleman, and everybody is like, "Oh, you're only out on him because he's slow in the 40. Here are the 10 guys that were also slow." And I'm like, "No,
here we go.
He's not a route runner. It's just not my type of skill
But
set."
I'd like to me, that's
Kelvin
more important.
Benjamin.
Like measuring the speed of the route and the precision of the route. Like, is he rounding off the corners? Is he making his break at the right time? Is he, getting to the spot? That to me is more important. Like, Jerry Rice wasn't a burner, but he's the greatest receiver of all time.
I think the 40, the biggest thing that helps with the 40 is just confirming what you think you're seeing with your eyes on film. So
Yeah. So in addition to that,
for example, like a guy, we were just mentioning Xavier Legette. Xavier Legette looks fast on film, and then he ran a 4.39. So now I can say he's fast. Like, we don't have to. Xavier Worthy, fast. Like, you don't have to.
Really fast.
You have confirmation of what you were seeing.
But what if he looked fast on film and he didn't run a good 40?
Then you have to go back to the film.
Go back to the film.
But like, you were probably right the first time. Like,
Maybe
he's a fast receiver because he's efficient, because he runs a good route.
But then you have to start looking at the film closer and say, are they scheming him open? Is he looking faster on film? Or
does he match up against?
Yeah. Right. Is he playing against Sonny's Car Wash All-Stars?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
They are the All-Stars.
These are the things you have to find. Did you see someone actually found a Sonny's Car Wash?
Yeah.
Did you see that on my
Do they have All-Stars?
On my on my Twitter thing, it was on a truck. There's a truck, Sonny's Car Wash.
And the guy in front of it's got his pants halfway down.
I try to tell people that that's based on a real car wash.
Wow.
My guy.
Who's your guy?
Lad McConkey.
Lad
McConkey.
Lod.
Yeah.
You missed
love
when
him.
Evan said he's out on him, huh?
I'm not out. I'm not out, but
I love him.
he is small.
He is small.
I don't care.
He's
I do.
small and his frame is small.
But
When you say small, what do you mean, like 5'9"?
No. He's like 180 pounds.
okay, but he's small. But in regards to all the things that you were mentioning about route running and all that stuff, he's really good at that.
He's excellent, but he's had an injury history at Georgia.
5 years.
And he really doesn't have any great production because of said injury history, and he's got a small frame.
What'd the medical say about his injury?
I think he's fine now. I mean, he tested and everything, but I just, in terms of withstanding it, especially if he's going to play so much in the middle of the field, which is where I would expect him to be.
He's going to be like a day 2 at the latest.
Yeah.
Right? Some people think he could sneak into the end of the first round.
Yeah, especially a team like Kansas City there at the
Just
end.
remember who knew about him.
I was just gonna say. First of all, I still
Barth
can't.
probably knew about him 10 years ago. So.
He's got
This
the
kid in
most
middle
distinctive
school
name in football.
No, he does. That's what I was gonna say.
He's
When I
really
first
good.
said Fred say that
His
name, I'm
first
like,
name is Lad.
Fred is literally making this up to be like a white slot receiver name. Like it's like Lad McConkey. Like,
And the funniest
it's a real
part
guy.
is
I don't think he's just that.
he's really
He's pretty
not.
athletic.
No, that was.
No.
I mean, I'm saying when Fred brought it up
He's
first.
more of
that's
an
what-
Amendola type.
No,
Like, he could go long.
No, he's
No,
Amendola's
he
a
could-
slot.
Yeah,
But no, but
he's
he would
fast.
go long
Yeah.
too, Amendola.
Well, you can go long out of the slot. Christian Kirk made a career out of it.
I think Lad McConkey can play on the boundary and play outside.
I think he
and,
can.
and run vertical routes on the outside because his best trait is his start stop.
I'd
like
love
he
to-
can stop on a dime.
Just for the show, I'd love to argue with
Right,
you
that-
and tell you how much he's
because I think he
he's
only
not bad.
Like, and I brought him because I think he ran a 4.6, right, or something like
No,
that.
he
Lad
was fast.
McConkey?
No, he
No.
was fast.
No.
Oh no,
fast.
he was a 4.39.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
really
really
fast.
athletic. That's
Yeah.
why I can't
Yeah.
make fun of you.
His
not
best
Slade
trait
Bolden.
is that
Slade Bolden.
he can burst off the line of scrimmage, and then he gets the corner to have to respect the vertical route, and then he just cuts it off on a dime.
Right.
He's really good at it. He's going to be more of like an intermediate guy, like a move the chains guy, but he's really good at that.
And you know, like in the NFL especially, that quickness is so much more important than it is in college because everyone's fast. And but you got to get that step. You got to get NFL open, and that quickness allows you to do that, provided you have a quarterback who is on time.
Yeah,
you know,
and he understands how to get open too. It's not just the skill set of like stop and start on a dime. It's he understands how to set routes up. And I mean, just watching some of that. I mean, you guys were down there at the Senior Bowl, but even just watching him on TV, it's like it's pretty cool watching how he does it.
Literally, all the corners that he faced at the Senior Bowl,
yeah.
they all voted him like
Yeah.
number one,
Stay
like to go
away.
against.
because he's tough. He's hard to stay with.
I just worry about durability. And not in the
And
second.
that's those small guys. I know everybody says no, it's good to be small and shifty. That's that's why Hunter Renfrow is on the verge of being out of the league.
Yeah,
Right?
like I wouldn't mind at 34. It's totally. But if I'm a team at the end of the first round, I think a first round pick is a little bit much on a guy like that.
Danny in Chicago, big fan of the show, was just curious on the level of arm strength Jaden Daniels has in terms of putting the ball into tight windows rather than how far the ball goes. Is it more on the weaker side like Mac, or is it just an adequate arm in comparison to everyone else in the league?
Yeah, I'm surprised at how much of talk about his arm talent there is, because no, he does not have a huge arm. Like guys like a Drake May are going to beat him in terms of like miles per hour on the gun and stuff like that. But when I watched him, I wasn't overly concerned. Like, this guy's not going to be able to make the throws in the NFL, and he's mobile. So that adds an element too that Mac doesn't have. I think a lot of people have Mac PTSD that they're going to have a soft thrower, but when you're a little bit of a softer thrower and then you run a 4.3, it's like not as big of a deal because you can add so much other stuff with your mobility. So
my wife likes the Notre Dame quarterback.
Of course she does. I bet she does.
I don't even know if he's going to get drafted.
Really?
Yeah.
He's handsome.
Is
he?
I mean, he's got long
Ever-
flowing
The
locks.
kid from Wake Forest?
No,
Hart-
Notre Dame.
He's
Yeah,
Notre
He
Dame.
went to Wake
transferred
Forest
from
first.
Wake
He
Forest.
went to Wake
Okay.
Forest first.
He looks like Grizzly Adams.
No.
Grizzly Adams
Everybody's
did
got
have a-
everybody's got a type, Paul.
As soon as
That
he,
ain't mine.
As soon as he ran the 40,
Mrs. Kirsch's.
I'm more along the lines of Jimmy and Brady. The
As-
traditional good looks.
Right.
As soon as he ran the 40, I was like, that's about to
Oh,
be clipped in all over
slow
the
motion,
internet.
yeah.
So
Just his hair
well,
blowing
We have a little
in
bit
the
of
air-
breaking
in the air
news, not
conditioner.
not Patriots, but Patriots adjacent. Dalton Schultz back to the Texans. 3-year, $36 million deal.
Oh, it's one tight end off the market.
Antoine Winfield Jr. tagged. Justin Matabuke with the Ravens tagged. So we got
Okay.
some
So
news.
not Pittman, huh?
Not yet.
But yeah, no, we're out on Sam Hartman. Sorry.
Okay.
7th round UDFA.
He might have a future in being an Abercrombie model though.
Yeah.
I mean, I came in this morning.
I got to give this another look.
Yeah, you get,
No, well,
because
no.
I trust Nicky. Nicky has
he's
impeccable
closer
taste.
to Fabio than
This
he
is
is
coming from
Grizzly
Tamara.
Adams.
Tamara's pulling up pictures up the
I just think
stairs.
he's
like
got hair
he's
everywhere.
got a shaved
Oh, no,
head,
it-
and
it
it's
was
not.
good.
It's
not
not
sexy.
the same.
It's not
It's
sexy.
not-
the long mane with the
Please,
beard.
please
Oh,
look
it's the
look up his photo from Wake Forest. Totally different guy.
Oh yeah, okay. No, he's well.
But
coiffed now.
I trust Nikki. She has great taste in most things.
Yeah, except men, right?
Yeah. I mean, Fred, at the Senior Bowl, there were girls coming up to him to take photos.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
because they think he's going to be
Listen,
the
I can
number
see
one.
Paul,
that.
you know what that's
Take
like.
photos.
You know what that's like.
I do.
He's the new Head and
I shouldn't
Shoulders
say
guy.
I shouldn't say I do.
Literally.
I did.
And allegedly, he puts nothing in his hair. Like nothing. No color.
I hate
that
him.
that
I
I
just hate him.
that I believe.
Have you been with the
'cause it just looks
Steelers?
like an
What do you put in your hair?
Hardo.
What's
I
your,
can't.
do you use any product?
There's a we were talking about we should make a video like a TikTok of like the 10 cliches of the combine, which is have you ever with the Steelers? There's always that guy who just walks around, but there's also the guys that don't even like look at the person. They just hold their phone up and they're like, "What is your favorite hype song before you go to a game?"
Right.
And they just stare there, and it's like it's so awkward. And like even this year, and I usually defend my blogger brothers, but they're letting everybody in. I mean, I think you guys probably saw.
Now that he's a real guy.
There's some
I
weird-
They're just letting everyone
no,
in.
it's gotten bad, but like the Caleb Williams
Deuce is a
guy,
ladder
that,
puller.
like I know, right? But some of them are just so unprofessional. And I mean, the guy who was like,
like that
flexing
phrase.
on his Caleb Williams question, where he's like, right off, like Caleb, it's he's shouting it out like it's like the 1930s, and he's on deadline. There were just some real
juice, Caleb.
there were just some really, really, just unprofessional people that, I mean, and there were other people talking about it too, that like they got to have some kind of system here where it just feels like, that there's got to be a level of like professionalism that you're
I
interviewing.
couldn't
It was
agree more.
anybody who had a blog was in there.
I couldn't agree more.
Like, there was no-
I hate to like Big J anybody, but
Well,
there has to be a line of like, where these people are coming
right,
from. for
but
sure.
I mean, like
Was
in
Dave
our
Brugler there?
Oh, he was definitely there. But I mean, in our
Working on the
defense,
beast.
like I wouldn't have gone in there and just tried to make a ruckus to get a name for myself.
Yeah.
I would be there to do work and ask real questions that I want to know. Not, all right, everybody, look at me. I'm going to ask this ridiculous question and try to put the spotlight on myself. Like that stuff just shouldn't fly.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Deuce's rant of the day, brought to you by Bud Light.
Oh my
Easy to
God.
drink, easy to what?
I do
Love those
like
seltzers.
the irony of Deuce being very anti.
Yeah.
blog. The other thing that happens at the
They probably
combine,
track
in all-
hoodies and stuff.
In all seriousness, there's a ton of college people at the combine too.
Right.
Yes.
To feature their colleges. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
They're pumping.
You had
up
your
their-
time. Get out.
They're pumping up their kids, and I do wonder, Fred, if it might be time for that.
Yeah.
Like I understand what they're doing, but like you did.
Right.
To steal your phrase, you did have your 4 years, 4 years, minimum of 3 with these kids.
More likely
It's funny
6.
that you bring that up because Roman Wilson, his first question at the podium was like, "Who's a guy at Michigan that we should be on the lookout for next year that's going to be here?"
Oh yeah, I think that
Like,
guy
that's,
got
like,
one of
the
that guy
first
got one of
question.
my.
But you had a chance to ask that question to all
Yeah.
of your players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't be wasting time at the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wasting time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Each
no,
his
I
own.
was talking to trying to talk to Christian Jones, the tackle from Texas, who I thought was really good at the Senior Bowl, and these two guys were Texas reporters, beat reporters, and they clearly knew Christian Jones because he was talking to them like he knew them, and they just kept on asking question after question after question about Texas, about the program, and
Right.
about Sark, and about this, and I'm like, we're trying to learn about these guys for the
No,
draft.
that's
like,
a good point. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not my bigger gripe is what Deuce brought up though. That, it got bad.
I don't know. You guys missed it, but Paul was on a college trip and he got stopped in Virginia for speeding.
Oh.
And so
What part of
did you
Virginia?
get away? Did you show a little leg and you got out of it?
What did I say?
So there's a whole thing now, like
Just a little zip,
you know,
zipper.
I don't think there'll be a ticket today, boys.
you know, was it reckless driving or not? And
Is there a Lawrenceville?
But Ed says, Ed
Charlottesville?
from Virginia,
No.
Paul says, tell Paul that 20 miles over the posted speed limit is considered reckless driving in Virginia. 85 and a 70 is not reckless, whereas the person who stated they received reckless for going 82 was likely in a 55 or 60 mile per
No,
hour
that's
zone.
incorrect. From the Virginia girly. In Virginia, no matter if the speed limit is 70, if you hit 80, which is just 10 miles over, it's automatically reckless.
Okay,
like
so the
80 period is reckless.
The deputy who pulled me over said that he's putting me down for 85, so it will not be considered reckless.
Wow.
That's what he
Well,
said
you were doing,
specifically.
you were doing like almost 90?
I wasn't, but I'm in Virginia, and I'm not looking to go to jail
Yeah.
with my family in
Right.
the car. I was 10 and 2.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like my cousin Vinny.
But
you know what I wanted to do, Fred.
See,
You know
that's
me.
crazy.
You know me well enough.
But
You know what I wanted
Here's
to
Paul
do.
telling the story. Oh, Fred, I was 10 and 2. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But then it's like, you're going 85. No, I wasn't.
Oh my God.
Not like that. Not like that. It was.
But the more he talked about it, like by the end, he spread eagle outside the car.
And, that's,
you know.
and that was my fear.
I shot the clerk.
They
shot the
literally-
clerk.
Right.
I
But
needed-
that
I
was
needed
my
that.
whole. That was my whole
I didn't
fear.
say anything, Fred.
I
you were going
needed that.
85. No, I wasn't.
No,
Oh my God.
He said when he came over, he goes, "Do you know why I stopped you?" I said, "I think I was going maybe a little too fast." And he said, "Yeah, I had you at 92." and I literally had and I went, "No, I wasn't," like that.
92.
And then he was like, "Oh, well, you know," and then he said, "Yeah, no, that's what I had you." And if I was like in Massachusetts, I would have said, "I want to see the reading."
Mm-hmm.
And now here we go. Paul's going to go all
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
But I'm on the side of the road in Virginia. I ain't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't getting put in jail.
You're an
So
Alabama.
I just said, okay. And then I said there were a lot of guys flying by me in the left lane, and he claimed that I moved lanes when I passed him.
What?
They got you on a technicality, it feels like.
There was more
They got-
conversation than 10 and 2. Yes, sir.
No, no.
And 92 mile an hour technicality.
Yes, sir. Evan, if I was going 82, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Literally, I'd be surprised. If I
I've
was in
asked for the reading
Massachusetts,
before it didn't go my way.
I would have asked for the reading if I was in Massachusetts, and I would have rolled the dice.
Yeah.
But I wasn't doing that with Deputy Dog.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to end up. I paid the fine. It's over. It's done with.
I can't-
But they were not lying about the solicitations from attorneys.
Wait, what?
Oh, to get out of it?
I got 11 different letters in the mail from
Oh, wow.
Virginia
All the way up in
attorneys.
They send it up
They
to
must
you
just
in
They
look
must
right
share
up-
the info.
They must go right on the database.
You wanna
They
fight
go
it?
boom, boom,
You
boom.
get
Out of
points.
state. Of
Insurance
course,
going up.
of course I'm gonna. I don't know
Unethical.
yet, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm really jealous that now reckless is 85 because I literally probably got multiple tickets for going 80 and a 70, and that was considered reckless, just 10 over.
So your insurance is like.
Oh
jacked
no,
up?
now it's great because
Oh,
I
yeah?
had to go to driving school to get them like to disappear, you know.
You know, when I was.
But that was when I was like 16, 17.
The best
I
guy
don't do that anymore.
that wrote in was, he said he was like me. I think he was from Connecticut.
Yeah.
And he said he was down and he got pulled over, same kind of thing, 80-something and a 70. And he had his court hearing. My court hearing was like in April at some point. Obviously, I'm not going down.
No.
I want to say Lawrenceville. I don't know why that's sticking out to me.
Sure.
I'm not going down there, to appear in court. And he goes, I had a couple of friends that lived in Manassas, so we made a weekend. We made a weekend out of it. I drove back down there and I fought it and I won. And I was like, I wish I
Wow.
could do that.
When I
Because
lived
I really think if I appeared in court, I'd have a very good chance to win.
when I lived
Yeah.
in California and I was at my assistant jobs, I did online driving school to get 2 bosses out of tickets. Like not one, but twice. I went all through all myself, going through all the online driving school to get the
it's
whatever,
so horrible,
knock the points
but it's
off.
great.
All right, back to football. Good
Sorry.
stuff. Paul and the Colony. Let's assume the quarterbacks go picks 1 and 2, and the Patriots have identified Penix as the guy they really want. Should they trade down with a plan to get him, or just take him at 3?
Trade
What could
down.
they get
Yikes.
for that type of trade?
Trade down.
Trade down.
Yeah,
Trade a ways down, probably. I mean, I don't think that doesn't really make sense to me.
yeah.
Well, that's
How-
what he's
how far-
asking. Would you trade down or would you take him
I
at
would trade
3?
down. If you really wanted Michael
What do you
Penix,
think
I
the
would.
gap is between Jaden Daniels and Penix?
Sizable.
Yeah.
Not like, I mean, I don't know.
I would.
Sizable.
I'm
I would
kind
do
of
this.
intrigued by
I would
Penix, I'm not
like.
gonna lie.
I would trade down. I would take like Joe Alt, and then I would trade up to get Penix.
I don't. It's going to be really. I know the reports came out that Penix had a clean bill of health and stuff like that. I don't doubt it, but I doubt that changes much about how you look at his durability. Like, yeah, okay, so he doesn't have any pre-existing conditions coming into the league. That's great, but he's still got 4 season-ending injuries in college. So that's still. Teams are still going to hold out. That screams second-round pick to me is the point where probably first-round tape, but a guy that has some concerns, some flags that you knock him into the second round.
Yeah.
I think he might be the best passer in the draft. Like
he might be.
I believed it once I saw Barth's reversal and it showed him throwing righty. I'm like, it looks great.
Yeah. Instead of just saying passer, I'll say he's the best thrower of the football.
Thrower of the football.
He can spin it. Yeah. That's for sure.
Eric in Maryland, try not to laugh at me too loudly for this. The Broncos just dumped Wilson and need a quarterback. They are also about $15 million over the cap. How possible would it be to center a trade around Mac Jones for Courtland Sutton? We would obviously gain a wide receiver while Denver gets a pseudo-experienced quarterback while knocking off about $10 million off that cap number.
That's fine. I don't know. I mean, Courtland Sutton's fine.
I'm sorry, what?
It's fine. I mean,
you think you can get Courtland Sutton for Mac Jones?
Well, I'm playing along. I'm playing along.
The Patriots would have
he
to
asked
tack
what
a pick on.
he said not to laugh, so I didn't laugh.
Oh, sorry. I didn't laugh.
But you think there's a world that you could get
No.
people are saying maybe a conditional 6th round pick.
You could get.
You get Courtland Sutton for him.
You could get Mac Jones and.
I wasn't answering that. I was just answering
Can we
would I
give-
want Courtland Sutton for Mac
Can
Jones?
we give them Mac Jones and Juju?
No, that would make it
Courtland
worse.
Sutton?
That would make it worse.
And Parker?
No, attacking
And
Juju's
J.C. Jackson. We'll
contract
re-sign
makes it
J.C.
worse.
Jackson to trade
Courtland
him.
Sutton's a good player
I
who's had
know.
no one to throw him the ball.
He's pretty good. I would.
Let's
yeah.
take him.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, Mac Jones and a pick to Denver
no.
for Courtland Sutton is possible.
Whatever the pick is that you'd have to trade for Courtland Sutton, and Mac Jones would get that done. So if it would cost you a 3rd round pick to get Courtland Sutton, is that what you're saying? Maybe 4th round?
I would say that maybe
round pick?
if they really, assuming, not laughing at the email.
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm
assuming-
trying to.
I didn't laugh once.
I'm trying to take it
assuming
seriously.
that Denver likes Mac Jones, which is I
Right.
get a big
now
assumption.
now I'm gonna laugh.
But assuming that they like Mac Jones, maybe Courtland Sutton was worth a 3rd round pick, is now a 4th round pick plus Mac Jones. That's what I'm saying. Because it's really valuing it as like a 4th and a 6th, for Courtland Sutton. That deal I think would be in the realm of possibility. Tacking Juju on it makes it worse for the Patriots, not better. So that I don't think is going to happen. But
in all seriousness, it does because of the contract.
right?
Like I know we're not making it out to be as like because he's such a bad player, but it's low production with a big contract.
Yeah.
Or,
in order to get rid of Juju, I think they would have
Yeah,
to tack
what
a
are-
pick
what are
onto
the-
Juju to get you to take
What are the
him.
scenarios, that we can get rid of that?
Just
Trade him
cut him and eat
with
it.
an asset. Yeah. Or eat the post June.
I'm glad that you
cut.
said that because that's the answer. Like, if you learned nothing yesterday, $85 million,
Right.
dead cap. Please do yourself a favor and stop being concerned about dead money in the salary cap in general. It's about real money and what you have to pay guys. That's always going to matter as long as there are human beings writing the checks.
Yeah.
But in terms of getting out from bad contracts by dead money, $85 million.
How will this
new
How will
league
this affect
record.
the Broncos? I mean,
It will affect the Broncos. I mean, that amount of money.
It's absolutely going to affect them. But what I'm saying is it's not a deal breaker. When the guy needs to go, you got to
perfect.
This
Yeah.
is nothing like that.
No.
What we're talking about with Juju Smith-Schuster.
It would be like 11 million.
right. So you
We're
could,
talking nothing.
Kareem says Lad McConkey sounds like Chris Hogan. If McConkey also has the superpower of invisibility to defenses, then he would be a great addition.
I mean,
Mike
he's a
and I
better,
watched a
he's
little,
a better player than Chris Hogan.
Mike and I watched a little Dynasty today where we saw
And there he
some
was. He just appeared
cloak
out of
of
nowhere.
invisibility.
Oh, there he is.
yeah.
There was one catch out of they showed probably 4 or 5 catches that he made, and one of them he had a guy covering him.
Yeah, the
one in the
Atlanta
Super
one,
Bowl.
yeah.
Another Russell Wilson related email. Let's see. They're going to be released by the Broncos, so no need to trade any draft picks. Any word on what money he's asking for? Is he taking a discount to rebuild his reputation?
Who are we talking about?
Or
Russell
is he
Wilson.
delusional like Chris?
No,
Kirk
so
Cousins?
That's
so
going to be the minimum.
It behooves him to take the minimum, because it has offset. So he's going to get paid more actually if he takes the minimum and takes the money from Denver than if he goes out and tries to get like a quarterback, starting quarterback salary that offsets the Denver money. Then he's going to end up losing money. So it behooves him to take a league minimum.
Any
for the
interest?
No.
Bridge?
No,
No.
I
Not
just
after
don't.
what I saw last
Too
year.
much.
No.
Too much.
It's
of
not
a
even
ride.
about his play on the field.
Yeah.
Zakem?
Right. Yeah. Too much of a
Zakem?
ride.
Zakem?
Yeah.
Zakem Bridge?
Bridge.
No, Sagamore.
Sagamore?
Bourne Bridge.
Yeah.
I just think that it's you're.
Well, like
What's
you're
a bridge
committing to him.
that is falling apart? And
Yeah,
it's kinda
I was
weird
going to
and-
ask you, which one of those is falling down?
Memorial Drive? Longfellow?
You're committing him to
London
him
Bridge
as the
is
starting
falling down.
quarterback next year. Like Russell Wilson's not going anywhere without being on the quarterback here for
Right.
2024.
And then all of a sudden everyone's gonna
See,
be like,
I'd be okay with that. I know probably Thursday we'll get into it because it's getting late. Evan and I disagree a little on the plan of attack, but I don't mind letting someone be the bridge guy for the year.
Right.
I just don't want it to be Russell Wilson.
yeah, me too.
Agreed.
I hate that idea.
I think he's looking to be the star, still center of attention.
Yeah.
And I just don't think he's been very effective for now going back to Seattle in the 2 years in Denver.
Yeah.
And even if you can talk yourself into maybe you can save him after 3 years of down play, like you still have to sign up for the whole Russell. He's gonna be working out on the airplane, and
It's
you
just
guys
like,
are gonna be annoyed.
If you're gonna draft, you're not gonna probably draft somebody at 3 if you sign up for Russell Wilson. So even if you draft Penix at 34,
Unlimited.
is Russell Wilson gonna mentor Michael Penix? Is he gonna take him under his wing and
Right.
No, of course
No,
not.
that's a
He's
good
gonna be like F you, like he's Russell Wilson. I this is my job, that sort of thing. Jacoby Brissett is gonna approach the job totally different than somebody like Russell Wilson.
Wondering what to do without game day weekends? Spruce up your home for festive spring brunches with Bob's latest party-ready seasonal dining styles. Whether you're looking for storage-pack seating, expandable options, or cozy coffee tables, be sure to shop Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots.
All right. Ryan in Virginia writes in, I think we could use a break from the 2024 draft talk by talking about the 2023 draft. Okay. How would you grade, A to F scale, the Patriots 2023 draft class based on these 3 points last season? Right after the draft, how would you have graded it? Now, who did they take?
We're talking about the whole class?
Gonzalez,
Gonzalez.
White, Marty Mapu.
I was
Chad Ryland,
City Sow,
Jake
Beringer.
Andrews,
D+.
C,
Pop,
I think I did out of the
Tayshaun
draft.
Booty.
I would say Gonzalez is an A, and the rest is
Yeah, so I'd give him a C.
D+.
I would have said C after the draft.
Yeah.
I won't. You're forgetting about Pop Douglas. He was a good pick.
That's good.
Before the 2023 week 1 of the regular season, any change in that grade for you?
Well, I mean,
After
Gonzalez
you
was an A+ at that point.
Yes. After you saw them in camp and all that.
I would have bumped it to a C+ because of Douglas. I thought he flashed a little bit in camp.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fair.
And
That's
then
fair.
by the end of the season.
D.
Yeah, that's why I said D+,
Yeah.
because like
Gonzalez
Gonzalez was
was
hurt
out.
and
Pop was
But
in and
you
out.
shouldn't get hurt because of that.
Yeah, I
Sure
don't
you
know. I
should.
don't know how the injury
Yeah,
against.
the
What,
guy
did,
got
what
hurt.
did you get out of your
Yeah.
draft class in
Nothing.
year 1?
Oh, I
Nothing.
thought we were talking about it more of like looking forward,
me
what
too.
these guys are going to contribute to the
too.
team.
Forward, I'm still Gonzalez and Pop.
You
and
got 1.5
I don't know.
players going
No,
forward.
but has your opinion of Gonzalez gone down?
No.
No, so I don't think you should get hurt because he got
No,
hurt.
but I do agree with Paul. I think,
But
that,
I mean, it hasn't gone up either.
Okay. But if you think he's going to be an A player, you still think he's going to be an A player, right?
But you might have some injury
But I
concerns
gave
now.
it,
that
but I
you're
gave
not
it a
sure.
C.
No, I'm talking about him.
Oh.
just don't tackle people with your shoulders.
Evans looked
That's
at me
it.
in Indy and he's like, I don't even need Gonzalez to tackle him.
No,
Just-
I don't need him
just
to
cover.
tackle anybody. Just be just
I'd like to see. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how they use him this year.
don't tackle anybody.
But
I'd
I
like
mean-
to see him a little bit more like the traditional star cornerback,
But
not
part-
the star
yeah.
position, star
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
Like the other team's got a really good wide receiver. You're going to just.
I mean, that's
track
what he
him.
did at the beginning of the last
I want
year.
you doing man to man on the other team's stud
Run with
all
him.
the time.
Yeah.
Isn't
I
that
didn't
what he
see
did?
enough of that.
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't. I saw a lot of zone.
Jack
The
in
best play he
no,
made
no.
in the 3 games was was a
Yeah,
zone
Miami. Yeah.
zone player. That was a phenomenal play that he made.
Jack in Inaba, how was your appraisal of Roman Wilson changed based on Wilson's combine performance?
None at all.
Yeah, he's what he is.
You liked him then and you like him now.
Still a good player.
Yep.
Okay. Audrey from New Hampshire has some combine coverage critique.
Cool. Oh wait, this is Audrey. Audrey's always a little critical on me. I appreciate you, Audrey. Thank you for the feedback.
Sounds like you're really.
I'm not here for
appreciative of the
this. I
feedback.
don't really care.
You don't like being critiqued?
Evan has
no, I do
use for it.
by people that like if you critiqued me, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'd listen to you. But like,
Evan has no
Would you
use for
listen to my
critique.
critique?
Mike is very passive aggressive when
Would
it
you
comes
listen
to
to my
critique.
critiques?
yeah, but like
I always
critique
listen
from
to
random
our
people.
fans.
I don't.
I do too,
ask.
Fred. I think it's a good. It's good
Unsolicited.
practice, Fred.
I enjoyed watching and listening to all your coverage of this week's combine. Love the live video recaps and interviews from Deuce and Evan.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
far, so good.
Thank you.
Let me share a few observations and possible improvements going forward.
No thanks. No thanks.
Why is Mike on hyperspeed verbally? He definitely found his counterpart in Field Yates, who also speaks in jet mode. I think your brain is moving faster than possible for your mouth. Great energy and intelligence, but calm down a smidge for the listeners.
Okay.
This is funny because we know Evan is probably bursting inside with information, and it's cool to be here, and I'm talking with Elliot Wolf energy, yet somehow he manages to remain calm verbally.
Okay. Fair enough.
Next. So far, so good, Evan.
Yeah. I don't know.
Next, I know Paul was joking about the bedsheet backdrop, but
Don't come at my
honestly,
guy.
it did have that effect. I realized it was because it wasn't tight and had wrinkles and sagging on both sides. No, we said that
I was
because
talking about the appearance.
there
of it.
used to actually be bed,
It was
bed-
sagging.
There was bedding along those
I
lines.
had those sheets when I was a little.
Did you have the
little
ones
kid.
with all the NFL logos?
Yes.
I did too.
Wow.
Yeah. It looked like a sheet pinned up behind the guys, and the front table edge had a strange dripping effect that reminded me of Halloween and didn't match. I will say that the angle of I don't know if it was the table or the angle of the camera, it looked like you guys were behind a wall rather than behind a table.
I appreciated it because it showed less of me.
Yeah, it looked like you were like
less of me that you could see.
It was almost like a puppet show.
Yeah?
Yeah, like you had a wall in front of you instead of a table.
belly off.
I feel like we really don't do many sitting debriefs, videos,
Yeah.
period. We're always
No, they just kind of give you the
standing.
table and the tablecloth. But
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome job overall, and I'm always happy to listen to my favorite group. Thanks for all you do.
Where am
Well,
I?
I think
Where
that
the
wasn't so bad.
I think you guys got off
That
pretty
wasn't
well.
bad.
Just slow down. I got you.
Where
That
were the
wasn't-
critiques of me?
I just have to try slower. That's all it is. I mean, we're just here at the combine and we're doing it.
It's like
That's the
Less of
passive
that.
aggressive
Less
Deuce
of
when
that.
he gets criticized.
That's what I was doing.
I don't think
I
you
don't
talk
even have
that
any
fast.
pointers.
No.
I don't know.
Trying to get it all
I feel
out.
like you talk the same speed that you do
Yeah, I don't.
here.
I don't really notice.
I heard Deuce on 98.5 today. His maiden
I,
voice.
I heard it as
Already
well.
asked me to go on.
That's why I
That
went
was
into
not
the
your-
staring through your soul because that's the line that you used this morning. It made me chuckle.
Which one? Oh,
the Alabama guys. They all look like they're staring into your
Well,
soul.
it was funny because Fred, I guess he's away this week.
I
or
guess I
something.
didn't. I wasn't aware.
So Hardy got
Hard-
to have his guess.
Hardy
So
got
he had
to have-
Way
No,
too,
I
way
was-
too
I was
many references to
appreciative.
Perillo in that hit.
That wasn't your maiden voice. You've been on there before.
He thinks that was the first time
I
he
think
was
it
ever
was.
on.
That's what
I
Hardy
think it
said.
was. I think it
Oh.
was. I don't know. I mean, I've done
You're-
the
Oh, you've done
Fitzy
EEI.
and
Yeah.
them, but
Yeah.
You dodged a bullet not having Fred there. I'm gonna tell you.
No, I was waiting for it. Who I didn't know who I was talking to. I mean, it was Joe Murray, right? Was that
Joe Murray,
Yeah.
John Wallach, and
John
Hardy.
Wallach. Okay.
No, I like Fred, but he always has to have one thing that's like not about the topic, and you're just
That's
you're
that's
not
what I was
expecting
bracing
it.
for, and we're
Yeah.
going through the circle of questions. And I first my interest was piqued because I didn't realize Hardy went first, and so I was like, oh, maybe. I started to realize, but I was waiting for that.
You didn't
question
realize
to be-
Fred wasn't there?
No, I didn't realize.
So did
it.
Hardy just reach out to you and say you want to come on?
Yeah, he
tomorrow?
was just like, hey, can you pop on? And yeah, no, I was
If
grateful.
like if I you come on after the combine or I've done it at the combine at times too, and Fred will just be like, so how was last night? And it's like, what do you want me what do you want me to say?
Oh, I
Like-
would, I would have had a good answer to that.
yeah.
But and they also were talking about the channel media survey.
Yeah, I have some bones to pick with that.
Oh yeah, what happened to PU?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what I haven't seen it.
I
was
mean, I did
asking,
see the one
did
that we
make
were
it?
usually in, and I don't think we were in it,
We-
which
we
was the
didn't make it?
write-in.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't think so. Alex Barth posted like
Yeah.
a 20
Because
clip
they always talk about it on the
thread.
Sports Hub, so
Yeah.
because Sports Hub
because they're
always does
flexing.
well.
So usually we get written in. We didn't get written in.
No, I don't think so.
I
I think
did
I
not see
saw
it.
the one.
I haven't seen it.
I saw
Yeah,
the one.
I saw a couple of
So what's your bone to pick?
maybe off the air.
Oh,
Why?
that sounds
Because
juicy.
I just don't want to sound like I'm throwing bows at anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Throwing bows.
No, I
Yeah.
I mean that's
I-
elbows.
Yeah, I just don't want
Throwing
to.
bows.
It's gonna sound salty, and it's just not worth it.
I don't know to speak.
I love when
cannot.
Tamara just shakes her head at Paul and Fred. It's just Oh,
I have to
my
interpret for the
kooky-
older people.
My kooky uncles that just don't know what's going on.
Throwing bows.
Gosh.
Kyle and Pembroke, 5 Patriots trivia questions for you guys. The winner will get a job sticker from Fred. A good job sticker. For your helmet.
So scratch and snap.
Who holds the record for the longest field goal in team history?
Gostowski.
Yes. Do you know how long?
59.
62.
That was
62.
Giants?
Oh, and
that wasn't the Giants.
Mexico City.
Mexico The elevation
That's why I
helps.
don't count.
While Tom Brady is the winningest quarterback the Patriots have ever had, which former Patriots quarterback holds the second place spot to the GOAT?
Bledos.
Drew Bledsoe.
Krogan?
No. Grogan is correct.
Grogan. So are we going by wins or percentage?
I guess wins.
Okay.
75 and 60.
Okay.
Ty Law has 36 career interceptions with the Patriots, tying him for the first among former Patriots. Who is he tied with?
Mike Haynes.
Incorrect.
With the Patriots, like just with the Patriots. Rodney Harrison.
No.
Oh.
Raymond Claiborne.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Two
That's
more.
with the Patriots.
Who has recorded the most receiving yards while playing for the Patriots?
Stanley Morgan.
Correct.
Correct, by a lot.
Over 10,000 yards. And finally, which former Patriot and current National Wrestling Hall of Fame member defeated Brock Lesnar in the 1999 NCAA National
Stephen Neal.
That's right. Even I could have gotten that.
Stephen
Wrestler. Yeah. All right. Let's turn back to the Ace Ticket Hotline. See who's holding on for a long time. Tim's in Boston. What's up, Tim?
Hey, everyone. Obviously, it's mock draft season, but I feel like I'm never too interested in them because they feel so unrealistic when you have just one person picking, because there's 31 other GMs who get paid too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So here's my idea. Take a media rep for all 32 teams. I nominate Evan, and do like a 3-round mock draft.
Yeah.
I would.
We've
be
done
so
it many
interested in that.
times.
Yeah, we've done it before.
I want to see
Many-
how
many
GM Evan
times.
would do specifically against 31 guys, though. I'll take it off there. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we've done it.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done, and there's also
it's largely pretty boring.
Yeah, like ESPN and the Athletic. I've been a part of the one with the Athletic ones. Is they'll like assign like a local beat writer to pick for the Patriots, pick for the Bengals, pick for the Steelers, so on and so forth. And then you go through the whole first round. It's hard to pick for other teams because you don't know their needs and know their scouting departments and stuff like that like we know our own. So I like those ones every once in a while.
Anthony, howdy, Fred, you did it. You found a replacement for Eric and Evan. Not since the cork smeller has a host had so little use for the opinions of the fans and been so dismissive to callers and emailers. Cue Evan saying, okay, we're done with this. Not long ago, Evan was lamenting not being able to give his opinion on an opinion show, but then turns around and says nobody can critique him or his football takes.
I didn't say that.
Now,
I said Fred could.
If only Deuce could get as irrationally mad as the low T-Rex, it'd be just like old times.
No, I just said that I care about the critiques of people that matter to me, like the people in this room.
Sure.
But the emailers, no
I
offense.
think the fans should matter to you.
Oh.
I think they should matter.
Okay, see, that's a critique that I'm going to take
All
under
right, there you go.
consideration.
Okay,
There you
All
go.
right, there you go. It's a whole new Evan.
The cork smeller. Wait, like who else? There's no one else in the world that has that as like their, bad nickname. Cork smeller.
I don't even know what that means.
Hold on now.
Don't get us started.
Yeah, it's a whole
I have
conversation.
no idea.
Eldred is in North Carolina giving it another shot. What's up, Eldred?
You gotta just keep smelling it now.
Hey, Tamara. Hey, fellas. How y'all doing?
Hey, Eldred.
You got me laughing, buddy.
Ah, nice.
Hey.
We like
But
it.
I'm not going to pick on you today, though.
Thank God.
But question. After watching the Combine, and after a couple of days, they think Penny Stock did ride. But JJ McCarthy, Paul, they got him going 12 to Denver.
Yeah, I
But they
see
got-
one that's 8 on NFL Network now, and I've seen another one 9 on NFL Network. So I assume that's like Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks and those kinds of
something
people.
like that, yeah.
Yeah,
DJ.
he's suddenly vaulted into the. It's very similar to Mac Jones in that regard. Mac Jones
Yeah,
was
but he
a
can't throw.
day 2 pick when the season ended, and then by the time the draft process got underway, everybody talked themselves into Mac Jones.
I feel like this feels more like Zach Wilson to me because just of the type of players that they are. Like Matt, he has a lot. Paul, you said this earlier. McCarthy's a lot more talented than Mac Jones was from a mobility, arm talent standpoint. But I think 10 to 20 is fair for JJ McCarthy. It's what's crazy is the people that are saying that he's going to go before Jaden Daniels and stuff like that. That is what I can't understand.
Yeah. One more question. Evan, listen to y'all podcast, you and Deuce, and y'all hit on my boy Jordan Travis. He's hurt and everything, I understand. And I didn't like the way they did Florida. But he's a whole lot more accurate than Drake May. And May can't throw in the rain. Look at the Clemson game from 2 years ago. He can't throw in the rain. But that's all I got. Have a good one.
All right, thanks,
I did
Eldred.
do some research on your Jordan Travis thing too, Fred, and he was a day 3 pick before the injury.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's a late round pick.
He's very small.
Little flyer would be fine, but
I was just intrigued by him from the podium. I hadn't even really watched him at all before the combine. It's just one where you float by these guys, and all of a sudden a guy just, hey, this guy seems interesting, and you just stop and listen to him, and I'd take a flyer on him.
I'd rather Bazooka Joe.
Bazooka Joe. That's a great shot from the combine of him launching that bomb and then just turning around and being like, boom.
I mean, that's what he was like in Mobile too. After every good throw, he's doing back. I'm like, this guy's great. I want this guy.
But can he play?
No,
not really.
Not really. No.
Brad's in Ohio. What's up, Brad?
Hello. Hi, how you guys? How's everybody doing?
Good.
Okay.
It's good talking to you. You always have good conversation, and you're always so intelligent about our team. So it's always good and refreshing hearing from you.
Thanks,
all.
Dad.
So that being said, we were talking last year's draft real quick. I just want to touch on the fact that I thought City Sal was really stable piece there at right guard and strong run blocker.
Yep.
I noticed at the goal line. And, Gonzalez, I think, is an A+ if he can stay healthy.
Yep.
And Douglas was a decent pick.
Yep.
So that being said, and then when I look at the draft, one thing I got to tell you guys, I'm a Michigan fan. So
from Ohio.
I know a lot of people don't like McCarthy, and but the things we have to understand about him is he played under center most of the time. And he does have a very good arm and an intermediate range throwing, like 25, 30. He can't throw a great deep ball with touch. He needs to be taught that. But, I mean, as far as arm talent and attitude, I don't see anyone that's.
So you think he should go in the first round? Brad, you think he could go in the first round, McCarthy?
I think he's a late round pick.
Okay.
I would like to see Marvin Harrison Jr. and move up in the first round with JJ McCarthy.
Okay.
Back up in the.
That would be something.
Or trade back if we can't get the 2 tackles. Trade back and get a receiver and McCarthy.
Okay. All right.
Does any of those make sense?
I always like hearing people who watch the guys extensively. Besides Evan, but like people who are there, watching these games as a fan. Like we hear from the North Carolina people who don't like Drake May, most of them, for some reason, and they're North Carolina fans.
Vocal minority.
Yeah, I heard from a lot of people who were in love with the guy when I was there.
Yeah,
who, McCarthy?
On the campus.
Oh,
May.
Yeah, May. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Couldn't go anywhere.
Well, I've started watching. I've watched 4 guys. I've watched Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and I've watched Penix.
Yeah.
And none of them are can't miss. They've all got something. Like Caleb Williams is obviously the most talented quarterback of the group, but all of them have something. He's like, well, but this. And Drake May is the one that has the most. I think of all those people, I think Drake May's the guy that could use a year to just watch. If you had a good,
he's wild.
Yeah, if you had a good,
he's Josh Allen.
But it's decision making. And I think the biggest thing, well, there's a lot of big things, but one of the most important things is understanding the speed of the game and figuring out if this guy's going to be able to process at that speed. Because that's what kills these guys. We've seen them all forever in training camp. You bring these rookie quarterbacks in, and we had Brady, obviously, so nobody looks that good. But it's drop back, hold the ball, can't make a decision, take off. And, that's the big thing. You have to be able to process in the NFL because the speed of the game is so much faster. It comes at you. And when you look at Williams and all of these guys, they have so much time on their film. It's just not even close. Now, I will say Drake May's line sucked. The North Carolina was, of all the lines that I watched, including Penix's, Drake May's was the worst line. But even he had a lot of time compared to what he's going to get in the NFL. And that's what worries me about him the most is, can he process quick enough to not make these dumb decisions?
Yeah, Washington had some studs for O-line.
Yeah. There's some post-snap stuff that I agree with you with on Drake May that will need to improve, but I think that he has a really good feel pre-snap and then also a really good feel of navigating pressure. Like he understands I'm sliding the line over this direction, so that means that if they bring an extra guy, it's going to come from over here, so I'm just going to drift a little bit in the pocket to my right to buy myself that little extra beat of time.
Did you, I mean, probably the answer to this is yes, but did you get a chance to watch like his bad plays too?
Oh yeah,
because that's what I was watching.
Yeah, see, I watch full games.
Yeah.
So I don't watch highlights. I don't watch just good, just
and that's
bad.
the real way to do it.
So I watch full games, and I've watched about 8 of his games from last year. And the biggest concern that I have with him is mechanically. Like he's got to tighten up his release. He's got to tighten up his footwork. He's got to be more consistent. And there are times where it becomes a big factor. You know, there's one strip sack on his film where the ball is hanging out all the way back here, and his arm is just begging for somebody to hit the ball or hit his arm. Like those things have to tighten up, and why he would probably benefit from some time sitting. But I think that in terms of consistency as a thrower and those respects that you were saying, I would actually say Jaden is probably the best out of all these guys. You know, everything above the waist with Jaden Daniels is very compact, very efficient. Ball comes out quickly. Ball comes out on time. He just struggles at times with processing speed of the progression. Like, okay, my first read's not there. Now I have to come off that, get to the second. That's what you're talking about, time in the pocket. Like he had all day to do those types of things at LSU.
You know, speaking of loosey-goosey with the ball, I mean, Caleb Williams is loosey-goosey. Now, the thing is, he's so athletic that guys couldn't catch him, and he had huge space back there.
He did have fumbles, though.
But, yeah, like he'll start off with the ball way out there, and like I said, he can get away with it, but guys in the NFL are going to be on him a lot quicker. And you put that ball out there, someone's going to hit your arm.
Yeah, he took a lot of sacks in college, held the ball a lot, and took in a lot of fumbles.
Yeah,
trying to be a hero.
See, I look at the stuff, like I agree with you on the loose with the ball thing on both him and May. I try to just focus on what they're doing. I'm not a football coach, so I don't try to like interpret mentally what's going on. Like I don't say like, oh, he's slow with his progression. Like I don't know. I don't know what the progression is supposed to be.
Right.
So I just try to like go off of what I see. I see so much similarity with when Evan's talking about the mechanics. I don't know if he's ever going to develop. Josh Allen came into the league a mess, and he's not a mess anymore. Maybe Drake May will always be a mess. Like, if he just stays the way he is, he'll be a talented but mediocre quarterback. If he sort of develops better footwork and learns to protect the football better. Now, none of them really throw, like, this is why the guys that throw the stats at you, their stats are eye-popping. None of these guys, like, I think Caleb Williams had a terrible year. I think he threw 5 picks. Like, these guys' stats are through the roof. But he won't get away with holding the ball, like you said.
Yeah.
He won't. And if he doesn't learn how to do something quicker,
right?
You know,
that's why I feel like I gravitate towards May so much, because to me his mechanical flaws are coachable and fixable.
That's how I feel. But.
So if you get him with the right coach who can drill his footwork into the ground to the point where it becomes repetitious and you're doing it consistently, then between the ears, he does a lot of the little quarterbacking type of things that are NFL ready, especially attacking the middle of the field, where he's really good at reading leverage and layering throws into the middle of the field. Whereas some of these other guys don't even touch the middle of the field. They're bubble screen, go ball, right? Yeah. Like that's all they're doing. That's Jaden Daniels. That's all he was doing in college. So, he gets up to the podium and they say, well, what's your favorite ball to throw? He laughs and he's like, a slot fade, obviously, because he threw about 500 of them last year at LSU.
Neighbors.
Right.
And Malik Neighbors said the same thing, too.
And Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
So when we see him at his pro day, how does he throw a dig route? How does he throw a deep out? How does he throw a slant? Like those things he doesn't do that a ton on his film.
Alex in Mount Holly says, just read Evan's post-combine mock draft, and I hope Elliott Wolf and Gerard Mayo have that same amount of luck in finding gems late in the draft the way Evan did. Completely agree with his mock draft and would feel better if Evan could be in the war room late April.
No, don't give me that.
My only complaint, since I'm a North Carolina native, why did you pick Drake May? Don't you know he sucks? This is what I'm talking about. There's people from North Carolina.
He's being silly.
I think that was tongue-in-cheek.
I mean,
okay.
I just think it goes back to what I said at the top, was any of these guys, they all have the ceilings that it's worth the miss. It's not you can't overthink Drake May and say, no, we got to go with Joe Alt. I just go for that quarterback.
I think part of the May thing in North Carolina, I'm not speaking for them, but like, he had a really good year 2 years ago, and he was disappointing this year.
Yeah.
If I was in North Carolina and I rooted for the Tar Heels, I'd be down on Drake May too.
I think that's the difference.
I was expecting a lot.
And that's what they said. Look at his 22 film. Don't look at his
23.
Well,
in 22
you should
he had
look at
Josh
both.
Downs.
Yeah.
So
I know you should.
He lost a lot of NFL players.
Yeah, I just think that's the difference, and why I always pick on the North Carolina people is ultimately I don't care if he had a good year or a bad year by the standard of the college, or they won the national championship or not, because I'm looking at the player of how he's going to project to the next level. So whether or not they won enough games for you is really, it's irrelevant to me, because it's, I don't look at quarterback wins as like an all quarterbacks thing. So I look at it as, how is this guy going to play in the league? And that's more important to me than what did UNC go? Their record was not very good.
Todd, North Carolina's on the line. What's up, Todd?
Hey, guys. You're talking about Virginia. I've been to Busch Gardens a couple times, driven through parts of Virginia, and
me too.
They're the fastest drivers I've ever seen.
Really?
Scared the heck out of me.
Okay.
Yeah. I had one state trooper pull off from the left lane and decide to make a right turn and exit right in front of me. Cut me right off. Just no siren, nothing. Just boom.
Wow. Okay.
So you got out well, Paul. I think you did that. Now, what I want to talk about is, if we get the quarterback, what is the best thing? I don't think getting a receiver is the best idea for a good quarterback. I think it's build the line, get the running game going.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? How would you approach developing that offense for a new quarterback?
I agree.
I'll take the answer off the line.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, guys.
I mean, that's another position we could probably touch on real quick here at the end. It's just the running backs, and not a great top notch guys, but I think there's a lot of guys late day 2, early day 3 that can come in and play a role in the backfield. I think it's I don't know. I'm struggling to put words to it. I don't think it's like a deep class, but I just think there's some intriguing options that you could grab, and it's not going to cost you
because they're all replaceable.
Yep.
So
even the free agents,
there's 20 of them,
are
and one guy, Bucky Irving is probably going to be the same pro as Troy Brenton because they're all the same. Yeah. So that's how I feel about it.
Give me a receiver with a young quarterback.
We'll end the show with Boston Cream on the line. What's up, Boston Cream?
Oh, yawn. Just woke up from another legendary Todd call. Thanks, Todd.
Oh, wow. Wow.
You are
listener on listener crime.
We love it.
Wow.
Paul, I'm sorry if I offended you on Twitter. I saw the Miller Lite. I saw the Sopranos. I had to put them together. My question is,
you made me laugh.
What is a trade, quickly, what is a trade where you have to move off the pick and move off from selecting a quarterback? What's an unresistible trade?
3 first-round picks.
Yeah, something like that. Couple. I mean, maybe even a couple.
3 real first-round picks, or switching spots is one of them.
3 real first-round picks.
Yeah, it'd be hard to not do that.
Oh yeah.
I would think about it on the other snenario. If it's 3 and 8 for 2 future firsts,
25 and a 26.
Then I would definitely think about that too. But
it'd be hard not to, even with a 2025 first and a 2026 second even. I don't know.
It's just it gives you that ammo too of Brandon Ayuk if he comes available via trade, or T. Higgins is available. Now you have ammo from future years to go and give.
That's a good point, Evan. Is I think too often you just think about, well, then you have picks for the future, and it's no, those are actually capital that you can use sooner than later if you need to.
And that's one thing. They have the cap space, and they have the high pick, but they don't have a lot of picks.
Right.
They, high picks.
They don't have the ammunition.
So you only have 1, 2, 3. So if you could somehow stockpile a couple of firsts and a couple of seconds, that sort of quickens the pace of the rebound.
All right, thanks, BK. And thanks, everyone. That'll be the show. But first...
Hey Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go places.
All right. We will be back on Thursday with another edition. Anything going on Wednesday? We have a playbook tomorrow with John Rook, and he's going to have Jeff Benedict on the show, the author of the Dynasty book and one of the producers of the documentary, so that'll be interesting. We will talk to you on Thursday.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.